Oh, 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 wrong show. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. Good to see y'all. Happy Saturday. Sorry for the delay, but I was trying to get everything in order. I'm hoping, I'm hoping that everything is mwah today. Because guys, you guys don't know, I had uh the cable company come out, and the guy spent literally maybe 6 to 7 hours here. He was only supposed to be here an hour or 2, right? Then he found whatever he was looking for. He felt good about it, did some tests, wasn't working the way he expected. They even called him for another job. He's like, "Yeah, I'll be ready in about 20 minutes." Mm-mm. He spent another 3 hours here after that. So, guys, I'm hoping that the service is finally working well. I'm hoping that there's not a whole bunch of intermittent stuff going on with the stream. So we'll see. Uh, Fingers crossed. I mean, it's a long time coming just to get this guy to come out here. And then the other thing is, he did more in his visit than anybody has done. Whoever has, I mean, the years that I've lived here, he's the first person that came out and did all the stuff that he did. He even went over the neighbor's back wall and did some other stuff. He ran new wires from there to the place, everything, man. So listen, I mean, so far it's looking good on my end. And if that's the case, I'm very happy. But I'm gonna monitor it. We'll see, man. Stream elements in the building. I see you. Oh boy. Okay. Well, first off, let's uh let's cut this sound off. I got some extra sound in my ears. All right. So shout out to all you guys. Happy Saturday. I had the morning cup of Joe or Joe, whatever you want to call it. Get another sip. ASMR. Anyway. David L is in the building. Salute. What's good? Appreciate you. JJ is here. Salute, my guy. Hope everything's going good for you. Eddie F is here. Salute. Yeah, I hear you. Ashley Inc in the building. What up, Wiz? Yeah, yeah. We need a little something, brother. Andy, what's good? Hope you're doing well. Always good to see you, bro. Kareem Grant, what's good, twin? Salute. Ethan Mealins in the building. Good morning. How you doing? William Thompson is in the building. What's good? Salute, salute, salute. Walter Blackman, what's good? Always good to see you, my brother. Mm. Mm. Interesting question. Let me start that. I'll come back to it. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. I see you, Walter. Ernesto Duverge in the building. Salute. What's good? Appreciate you. All right. These Knicks, guys, these Knicks. Where do we start? Where do we start? I don't know what it is about this team. I think in all my years of watching sports, I've never met such a Heckle and Jekyll type team. Oh, they're so all over the place. It's either you get the good in abundance or you get the bad in abundance. There's no in between with this team right now. And I'm not saying it's always going to be that way, but for this year, this is what this team is. It's either all good or all bad. I don't what the heck is going on? It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Sherwin, what's good? Salute to you. Well, right off the bat, the difference between fifth and sixth place is if we have fifth place, we play fourth place, which could be, the Cavs. Sixth place means we play number three, and there's a difference there, folks. I mean, if we had to play number three, that's Philadelphia. Now, don't get me wrong. Do we match up okay against Philadelphia? Yeah, but I think you'd still rather play the Cavs than Philly out the gate. And the way this Knick team has played in these last three games, I think the Kool-Aid we were sipping, we understand that this Knick team can come back down to earth at any minute. So how we were high on, flying on cloud nine and thinking we could take on the world, this Knick team will show you that sometimes that's not the case. So you want the best possible opening matchup you can get. And I don't even know if that's the Cavs, but look at what the choices are. So I guess the Cavs would have to be it. There's certain things that we might be able to deal with the Cavs that you know we might struggle in other places with other teams. Don't know. This is all not for certain. Listen, the Cavs could come into a first round playoff series and spank us. We don't know, but I'm just saying for how it looks, that would seem like the best possible matchup to start a playoff run. Because the alternative is you drop to 6, you're playing Philadelphia. You drop to 7, well, then you got to fight in the play-in. But if you were 7th, you would have to play Boston. And then if you were 8th, you'd have to play Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know people like, how we handled Boston. I'm trying to remember when it was. There was a year. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I felt like there was a year we handled Boston really well. I think we might have even swept them 4 straight, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. And this is with Tatum and that the new squad. But of course, it was a couple years ago, so they weren't as good as they are now. But in the end, it didn't matter. So I'm just saying, like, regular season is regular season. When it comes to the playoffs and all that stuff, it's a whole different ball game. The intensity is different. What you're good at doing, they try to limit you from doing, and it's a half court game. And you better have all your ducks in a row. You better have a good offense, good ball movement, good defense, solid, and you got to make timely baskets. Now, one thing I will say, which upsets me more than anything else about this Knick losing streak, is that they're not making timely baskets. In fact, they're struggling offensively in a lot of cases. A lot of guys just don't have the shot going, and they're forcing shots, and they're not doing other things to get to the basket and get easy hoops to stay in the game, and that upsets me. And that in the playoffs, you'll get destroyed if you don't get that together. So, and in that case, it doesn't matter who you play. Whatever NBA team you play, the Cavs, whoever it is, and when it comes to playoff time, everything goes up a notch. And if you don't got your stuff clicking and you're being more efficient about how you're doing things to get baskets, don't go home. It's just how it is. So let me see. I'm just trying to check the stream. It looks pretty good. And then guys, this may not sound like anything to you, but it might be fool's gold. But the first 9 minutes and almost 10 minutes of the stream, no fluctuations. I've got the clear picture, and I also don't have the bars going up and down, letting me know my signal is dropping. So I don't know, man. I'm feeling good about that. So, I mean, we're talking 2 years of this. Almost 3 years. So, we'll see. But anyway, that's my point in difference between 5th and 6th. I think 5th is very important for the Knicks. Andy says, like my pick says, them Knicks though. Hey man, I don't know. I don't know what is. It's crazy, bro. It is crazy. Brunson's injury-prone self versus Randle's temper outburst. You decide. Oof. I think Brunson is I think he's okay, and I don't necessarily think that he's someone we have to worry about being injury prone, but I do think he's given up too much of himself. He's putting himself in some bad situations. He is not the best defensive talent, and we know that. He knows that, but he tries, right? But at some point, maybe you got to say, okay, let me try something here. But if they're not going to give me the call, then I'm not doing it right now. I got to save my body. Like trying to draw a charge against a bigger player, and if the ref don't see it and you got there, then let it go. Of course, you can get a big charge later in the game, but at the risk of what? You've been injured lately. You've hurt certain things on your body. Why put yourself out there? Because grabbing that charge may help us in that one possession. It may be key. But if we lose you for a game or two, then what's the end goal? What's the purpose? You know what I mean? So I think Brunson just needs to chill with that. If you guys remember, a month ago, I think it's been about a month ago now. Time flies. Remember there was a play. Was it against Miami? Yeah, I think it was against Miami where Jimmy Butler had a breakaway layup and Brunson came from the other end of the court and got there and tried to affect the shot. Now, he didn't affect the shot, but he tried, right? And then he wound up kind of tweaking. That's the one where he fell back and he hit the stanchion, the post or whatever. But that's when he hurt his ankle. So that was a play that doesn't necessarily need to be made by Brunson because he didn't do much to affect it anyway. You like his effort, but what's the point of to do that type of play? It's tough. It's a catch-22. Like you don't want to stop a player from showing maximum effort. It's just like if it's not gonna be beneficial, I don't know. That's tough. I don't know how to say it, but Brunson does certain things because he tries so hard that can put him in a position where he can get hurt. And then there's no benefit from it on the end on whatever he was trying to do to begin with. All right. Luka's unhappy in Dallas. Luka said he's not having fun. Oh, well, basketball is fun, but when you're trying to go for an end goal, it's about winning, and sometimes it's not fun. That's true too, Dwayne Dennis. The amount of minutes Brunson plays and how hard these guys have to play in total for Tibbs can wear them down, which makes it a little harder. And we don't know if his foot healed properly. That's another thing. But so Walter Blackman says we will be the 5th seed. Okay, Andy N says we're gonna hold on to the 5th as long as we win versus the Heat next game. Heat got a hard schedule. Okay. Hey, Geraldine McIver in the building. Salute to the first lady of still Knicks fans and the Knicks community. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see. Sherwin, Philadelphia versus 6. Heat versus Cleveland. New York versus. Oh wait, Cleveland versus Knicks. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you did there. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, Sherwin, I think that's a difference. Look, don't get it twisted, man. We play when the Knicks are playing well. The teams that that we might come up against, okay, it is what it is. You're not worried about anything. You're not fearful because you know the team is locked in. Does this team seem locked into you? Now there's still what, 8 games, 7 games left, whatever it is. Could they get back to where they were? Yeah. But right now, can you honestly say you'd want this team facing Philadelphia the way they're playing? I'm a little sketchy about them playing the Cavs right now the way they're playing. I mean, I know they'll turn it around. I just don't see them collapsing like this. But I, just be careful what you wish for out there. That's all I'm saying. I'd rather take on the Cavaliers, an inexperienced team, um, who we might match up against well. Philadelphia has more experience than us. They're definitely more playoff tested. Whether or not you say that they're a winner in the playoffs is one thing, but they make it pretty far a lot of times when everything's going right. Corey Lee's in the building. Salute. Appreciate you. Big task at hand is in the building. What's good? Andrew Gutierrez. What's going on? Yeah, I think that's the point Dwayne was trying to make. I think I agree with you there too, Geraldine. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying, big task at hand. Oh, you know what? Let me start that. I'll come back to that. Let's turn the and stop. Yeah, Corey Lee. I think this what you just said is very important, and this is kind of what I wanted today's show to be about. I think when um when anything happens with this Nick team, and it's probably because they're so heckle and jekyll, they're all over the place, right? It's like I said, it's either very good or it's very bad. And because of that, the doom and gloom of the Nick fan is on maximum high. Everything that could go wrong, like we look at it and it's like the end of all, that's everything. So it's over. And it's not. We shouldn't look at it that way. There's some issues, there's some problems that make you want to pull your hair out. I don't have hair, so I can't pull much out. But you know that stuff is there and you're going to be mad about it and you're going to be frustrated as like how can this team play so well against Denver, against Boston, and then they lose to oh um Charlotte and Orlando. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. Charlotte, I could say the Knicks looked gassed and they came out that game gassed and they also were not hitting their shots and they might have taken Charlotte lightly because they were on cloud nine. They were feeling really good about themselves, feeling themselves a little bit, and it backfired on them. The Orlando game, I don't think they took Orlando lightly. I think they know that Orlando gives them matchup issues and they've struggled with Orlando every time they play them. It's just that for whatever reason, the Knicks are not locking down on defense. Okay, so we can point to the offense, and the offense is a big issue right now because there's not a lot of fluidity. The ISO ball that's happening right now. See, ISO ball only works when the ISO person is scoring. But if the ISO person is not hitting their baskets, you're draining the clock, you're not moving the ball, there's no fluidity, and guys that could help you your the guys who don't really get a lot of touches aren't in a rhythm because you haven't been getting them the opportunities they need to get. Now we did see in the Orlando game, Grimes got very aggressive and he did his thing. Shout out to him. But we don't always see that. And you guys know that Grimes rarely gets the shots that he should get. Could it be partly him? Yes, maybe. But it's also the part the team doesn't look for him. He's the in the corner guy still. This year, last year he was the in the corner guy, and this year he's still the in the corner guy. So I think that the Knicks need to kind of get out of that mode because right now it's not good. It's not a good practice to have when you're trying to prepare for a playoff run. And if you do this in the playoff, you're gonna get spanked without question. So we'll see. Andy says he's not injury prone. Come on, there's a handful of players that play a full season. He's playing 90% of the games, not making him injury. Okay, yeah. If the Knicks can somehow acquire a true number one option that can put Randle at ease, he can fully display his talents without pressure. See, oh man. I mean, I somewhat agree with you, big task at hand, but my issue is just that Randle is so emotional that he's still trying to find himself as a player. You know what I mean? As good as he's looked and as good as he's been for most of this season, he still doesn't feel like, and I don't know this, I haven't talked to him, but you can tell he still doesn't feel like he gets his just due. He doesn't feel like he's recognized in the NBA the way he might feel he should be, and he definitely doesn't feel like he's recognized on the basketball court by the referees. There's so much stuff that happens to Julius Randle that doesn't get called because he's so big and strong and he's so aggressive in how he does things. Um, you know, my problem that I have with Julius Randle is that I want him to look in the mirror at himself, right? To look at how you play the game, right? And understand that you are not going to get all the calls that you deserve to get because of how physical you are and how much of a, an aggressive nature you have, because Randall gets away with a lot of calls that should go against him on the defensive side. He is so handsy and physical. Randall is always chopping people. Randall is almost fouling guys every single possession. Not every possession, almost every single possession, Randall is fouling somebody. Okay. But see, you can't be so mad at the refs for not getting the call on the offensive end when they let you get away with stuff that you're doing on the defensive end. Randall is a hacker. Okay. That's the name we called when I played ball in the hood, in the streets. You get hacked. Randall is a hacker. That's what he is. But because he's so big and physical, you understand that kind of comes with his game. Like, if I do this to you, I'm not as strong as Julius Randle, but maybe if Julius Randle does it, he smacks your hand down because it's just he's a bigger dude, strong. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's what the refs understand. They look at him and say, "This guy's a physical presence." When he does something normal, is normal for him, it's going to impact the player a little harder than what it would be from somebody else who wasn't as big as him. That's what I'm talking about. And Randall doesn't see things that way. Now, granted, there are some blatant calls that Randall should get. And but that's the problem with this current referee system. The referees have been terrible this year. So is he right to be upset on certain occasions? Yes. It's just that he also has to understand that sometimes you got to let certain things go because you get away with stuff. And I just think mentally, he's still fighting with that. Mentally, he hasn't understood that, he's got to let certain things go because you get away with stuff. And also, the refs have been horrible this year, really poor job. So don't put it in the hands of the refs. If all you can do is, if you got to watch how the game starts. If the refs are letting people play, then play. If the refs aren't letting people play and they're calling ticky-tack fouls, okay, then do what you got to do and just let them call the foul, because if they're calling ticky-tack fouls, then they'll call it for you as well. It's the ones that let the game play. This is where Julius runs into problems, because then the other team gets a little physical with Julius, and because he's such a bulldog, when he gets hit physically, it's that means that player went all out. To kind of get back at him, and Julius doesn't like that, and I understand that. It's just like how you got to learn how to play and win with no matter what the refs are doing, because the refs will take the game out of your hands if you don't capitalize on it. So that's kind of how I look at it with that. There's more to this, but that's just what I want to say for now. I don't know, JJ. That Mavs pick is it's tough, man. The way they're playing, this is not good. It's not good. The more they're losing, look. Let me check the. I'm disgusted. It's horrible. Mm. Yeah, I don't like it, guys. Mavs are currently in 11th. If we're to finish right now, they would be in the lottery, and we would not get the pick. It's crazy. It's freaking nuts. But 74. So they've got 6-2. They've got 8 games left. Dallas. Uh, all we need is for Dallas to get in the 10th spot. They are tied with Oklahoma City. I mean, listen, I don't care what's being said right now. There's something going on here. At this point now, it's close. It's something going on. Dallas is definitely a better team than Oklahoma City. With a tied record with 8 games left, there's no way that Dallas shouldn't overtake Oklahoma City to get at least that 10th spot. I mean, Dallas is only a half game behind New Orleans for the 9th spot. And they're only a full game behind Los Angeles Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves for the 8th and 7th spot. Ugh. Yeah, this if Dallas doesn't get into this little playoff picture, this little play-in, something's up. With 8 games left, there's no way. There's no way. Mm-mm. I don't care what. Nope. Mm-mm. So, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Walter Blackman, thank you for the generous super chat, my brother. I appreciate you. Thank you as always, man. Just you being here is enough. But whenever you decide to do something like this, it's definitely appreciated. So thank you. You know what? Why don't we do this now? It's a good time to hit us with the intro. I like to throw it off a little bit, guys. This show is Know the Ledge, so I can kind of play around with things. Anyway, we'll get right back into everything right after this. Yes, and we are back. All right, so where were we? Hey, Comeg is in the building. Salute, my guy. Appreciate you. What's good, bro? Yeah, correct. Andy says ISO works if you got good and hot shooters. Yeah, you got to be hitting your shots if you're going ISO. If you're not hitting your shots, it's horrible. Like ISO is horrible if you're not hitting your shots. That's the bottom line. That's all it is. The Knicks are a very heavily ISO team. You got 3 heavy ISO players on the team. If you're not hitting your shots, it is a nightmare. JJ says get Grimes more touches. I agree. Let me do this. All right. Put the link in the chat just in case if anybody wants to jump in and give their piece, their 1-2s on whatever's happening. By all means, you are welcome. And smash that like button, guys, if you can. Show your love for the show. Appreciate you. For those who follow the channel and follow us, I apologize. I wasn't able to do the NBA report on Thursday because the Knicks game was on at 7, and I was like, should I do it? I was like, no, If we're doing SKF weekly, I don't mind doing it while the game's going on. But right now, we're coming down to the wire. The Knicks have been playing bad. I feel like all the fans really want to focus on the game. So I was like, you know what? Let's hold off. But I almost thought about doing it yesterday, but just never. The time didn't permit itself. So it is what it is. Big Task at Hand says, I think that the Knicks are helping too quickly. The Knicks need to go back to trusting each other and just stay on their man. Yeah, that might be the case. That might be the case because these opposing teams are giving the Knicks different looks defensively, and they're attacking differently. They're trying to get Brunson out of the game. When Brunson's not there, obviously they're trying to limit Julius and make it tougher for him, and then they're trying to crowd Julius and make him make a decision. And sometimes he hasn't made the best decision. And even in games where he scored 57 points, he didn't make a lot of great decisions, but he played so well that you don't make a big deal about it. But it's not about that. What I'm saying is the pattern of play, the pattern of making poor decisions, because it comes back to haunt you if you keep doing it. It's one thing when you score 57 points. Okay, you make up for certain things. But when you're not scoring 57 points, when you're scoring 20 points or something like that, and your shooting's been bad, it really comes back to bite you. And it's not just Julius. I'm just giving you an example of, one instance where it's happening with him. But like RJ had a stinker in Orlando. Ugh, yuck. Nasty. Bad taste in your mouth. Spit it out. Get it out of here. That was bad. Quickley didn't shoot good from three, but he finished with 25 points, so he played pretty okay for the Knicks. Grimes was the best player on the court that night, and we needed it just to try to make the game close because it was going to be a blowout. And really, if you look at how the Knicks played the whole game, it should have been a blowout. It was a blowout game that they just didn't come to play the way Orlando did. And I didn't think Orlando was great. They were just better than the Knicks. So that just shows you where the Knicks are right now as a team, mindset, chemistry, mentally. They're in a bad place. Now, do I think they can turn it around? Yeah, but I don't know how we got here. I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, we've had some really great performances happen in the past 2 weeks. From Julius's 57 in a loss, but it's still a high when you're watching it as a teammate, as a player. Like, you're seeing this guy cooking like that. It's a nice feeling. You're a part of it. You got the big win over Denver. You got the big win over Boston. Like, these are key things. Now, only thing that would have put the icing on the cake is if we would have beat Sacramento. That would have been nice. But like, it doesn't make sense that you're playing this well, going on these type of streaks, and then you can look so bad. It's just horrible. Horrible. Every time, William Thompson says, every time the Knicks lose to inferior teams, it brings us back to reality. We get bipolar and start jumping off the windows talking about conference finals. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is. It's like it's the same thing over and over and over again. It's as D would say on his show, D's World of Hoops. If you haven't checked it out, please do. It's the roller coaster. I say the Knicks are Heckle and Jekyll, or Jekyll and Hyde, whatever. Heckle and Jekyll. He says the roller coaster. It's just up and down. Up. It's horrible. It's horrible. Angel Blue is in the building. Salute. He said Jay Randle is an emotional player. He feels doesn't get his respect. That's what bring out all the meltdown, and he needs to absorb all that. Yeah, no, I agree. He's a very emotional player. The guy plays with his heart on his sleeve. Like, he puts it all out there and he gives his all. Like, he emotionally gets invested in games. Like, some Knick players need a little bit more emotion, while Julius at times needs a little bit less emotion. It's trying to find that happy balance, that happy medium. He hasn't found it yet. He's been much better this year, but as we can see, when the games start to get intense and when the games start to mean more, some of that stuff starts to unravel. And then the pressure comes, and then the teams know the pressure is getting to Julius, so they keep coming at him with stuff, right? Over and over and over. It's like, how much of this can you keep withstanding before you start to snap if you're having these type of, issues? And that's where Julius is at, man. He's going through it. Now, is it hurting our team? Yes. If he don't get it together, we're gonna be in a problem, and then it's gonna go back to trade Julius. That's what's gonna happen, folks. So I see Corey Lee's in the background. Let me get Corey in here. What up, Corey? How you doing?
How you doing? Long time fan. First time you allowing me on
Man,
your show.
good to see you,
I
brother.
Good to see you, man. I appreciate it. I just want to take this time to tell all our fan base that we need to stop jumping out the window. We're gonna be all right. I think when it comes time to the playoffs, I think Tibbs is gonna take this team in like in a big group hug and
Mm,
I and get us right. You know what I'm saying? And get everybody grounded. Once we all
mhm,
get healthy again. You know what I'm saying? My point is that all this just jumping out the window and everybody's ready. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's make trades. We are not armchair GMs or presidents of the basketball of this team. We are gonna do. We have the cards that we're dealt with. Let's make the most out of what we have and support this team at the most. You understand what I'm saying? Like I pop up on Freezy shows a lot, and I do the watch along with him. And I always try to remain positive, even if we losing.
mhm.
Unfortunately, some days, especially these last few games. But my point to you is this: is that if we're gonna be fans, let's be fans. You know what I'm saying? We cannot just nitpick everything because we do not have the sexiest players out here in the NBA. You understand what I'm saying? To
Yeah,
hell with ESPN, to hell with the NBA network. We have our own network. It's called MSG. You understand what I'm saying?
facts.
So,
Yeah.
that's all.
No, I hear you. I hear you, Corey. I think I agree with you, and that's like I said. What I wanted this show to be today is more of, look, we talk about what we talk about, what the Knicks doing wrong, what they got to do better, what we got going forward, stuff like that. But I also want us to, like, I'm not where I was earlier in the season when I didn't know what this team was. Now I know what the team is. And so I'm comfortable knowing that they're going to be going up and down. It is what it is. This is the roller coaster, as D would say, and I would say it's the Jekyll and Hyde show. I get it, but I also know that this is our team. Like, these guys, we've already seen who they are. We know what Julius is going to do. Now, I wanted to wait until maybe later when maybe there was some more people that might want to jump in and chime in on it, but I'm sure it'll come back again. I just didn't want to have to talk about it for 2-3 hours. But the point is, with Julius Randle, I put it on the thumbnail for the show. I said, um, how did I word it? Uh, in essence, was Julius out of pocket with his reaction? Was he wrong for how he acted in that little play right before halftime with Quickley, or was Quickley wrong for escalating the situation? And here's my point. This is what I think. I think that when Quickley came over to Julius and tried to stop him immediately before Julius could even get his point out, one, that frustrated the hell out of Julius because he wants to get his point out and speak to the ref. We know that. But
Hmm.
two, it showed the ref, like, first off, the refs already know the Knicks. They already know who Julius Randle is. But it showed the
Hmm.
refs, like, look, his guys are trying to get control of him because he's about to lose it. Like, he doesn't have control of his emotions. So I'm already, as a ref, I'm looking at him like he's a ticking time bomb. And so if he's not letting his teammates calm him down and he's still coming over and trying to say something, I'm ready to tee him up. I feel like quickly jumping in and doing that right away before Julius could even get his point out escalated the situation. The ref was just looking at it like, okay, they're trying to get him. He's not getting under control. I'm gonna hit him with the tech. Now, what I will say is, um, was Quickly wrong? No, because on the side that Julius is not looking at is there's been games and games and games and games of his teammates looking at him go off. And at some point, a guy like Quickley, who we already know has a little bit of a pit bull in him, he said it. He wants to be a starter. You know, he's trying to get better in this league. He's trying to show leadership. If no one else is going to do it quickly, I'll step up. I'll try to grab Julius. So he tried. He made it his effort to try. There's guys like RJ who some of us look at as another leader on the team. RJ ain't stepping up to Julius because he knows who Julius is. And I don't necessarily like that too much either, but I know RJ knows his lane when it comes to Julius. I don't think it's right though, but I'm just saying we've seen it. So my whole thing was Quickley wrong? I don't think he was wrong, but I do think by him attacking him like so quickly, I think it escalated the situation. That's how it kind of got blown out of proportion. But somebody got to step up.
That's a matter of perspective, but I see where you're going with this, and you're talking about somebody who had to deal with this. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, I had to go through this because I am former military. So, the way you see life and your expectations are totally different. You understand what I'm saying? This is a Julius thing. You know what I'm saying? Now, do I appreciate what Quickley did? Of course I did. And the fact that, you know what I'm saying, the fact that the other teammates didn't come to rescue him, that means it's wearing on them because they constantly see this. But also, too, now Julius has a point because, you know what I'm saying, if Knicks fans, what we do the most is take for granted of who we have as a player. And the league does not respect Julius Randle at all. And that's a fact. You talking about somebody who was second team NBA just 2 seasons ago. And he's still playing like he should be first team, second team, third team NBA this year. The young man is not getting his respect. And it's a slap in the face. And it's like, what do I have to do to be treated like I am an NBA star?
Mm-hmm.
And if you all don't get this, because I can't see the chat, so and I can care less what they're saying. But my point to you is this young man is playing his heart out. He wanted to be in New York. How many people have ran from our city? Could have been paid millions and millions of dollars. But this young man took it on his shoulders, carried us for 4 years. Not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 years. And went through the gauntlet of the media, the fan base, everything. Y'all kind of push back on him because I ain't gonna lie to you. Last year, I was like, let him go. I was on that train to put him on the train to somewhere, and let's see what we get out of him. But he came back, and he won my heart back. I ain't gonna lie to you. You understand what I'm saying? And I can honestly see, you know what I'm saying, what he has gone through. So he needs to sit down on the couch, talk to Dr. Phil or whoever, you know what I'm saying, and focus his attentions on winning the game and not himself personally.
No, you're right. You're right. Let's look. I am not a Julius Randle apologist. When I see Julius do something I don't like, I'm gonna call him out on it. But I also feel like
neither am I. No, excuse me.
I hear you.
Sorry. Neither am I, because he's at the end of the day, we're all grown. We're grown ups, and we should know. And at the end of the day, He's playing a game. You understand? A game. Now, does that make him right? Is he emotional? But you know what I'm saying? We all have to gain perspective. The fans, himself, and everybody.
I mean, I kind of it's an analogy, but it's not always the case. But you know, as kids growing up, you know, you hear the story about the boy who cried wolf, right? So with Julius, when you're constantly complaining about being fouled, and it's not that you're not being fouled, like I said earlier, Julius gets fouled a lot because these guys, he's too physical, he's too strong. These guys can't stop him. And he
He's a
comes in
6'8"
like a
Shaq.
bull. Yeah, he comes in like a bull in a china shop. So it's tough to deal with. But on the other side, he also fouls a lot of people defensively. He's not the most skilled defender, and when he does it, he's very
Facts.
handsy and he's physical, right? So my point is, Julius has complained about a lot of fouls that maybe weren't the biggest. Like it could have affected his shot, and maybe we needed the shot, and he's like, okay, that's a foul. Like I gotta make a big deal about it. Then there's the case where in the Orlando game, he was getting chopped up. And then even that play that he was mad about, that was a clear foul. He should have got the call. But it's just
I
like the
agree.
track record of some of the calls that he didn't get, that he makes such a big deal about. These refs, man, when they have it out for you, they have it out for you. Now, should he get the respect? He should, but I don't know what's going on with that. He's just not getting it.
Bro, I'm gonna say this. You know what I said? We were doing a watch along. I think it was this game and the game before. I missed the last game. And I said to Freezy and everybody else who was sitting around when we was watching the game, and I said, you know what, you talking about we're complaining about refs that are not gonna be reffing in the playoffs. You understand what I'm saying? The refs in the play who are gonna be reffing in the playoffs, these
It's
are
the
like
best of the best ones, yeah.
Exactly. So we're gonna have to go through the motions, and everybody else has to come up because we're pointing our fingers at Julius, but everybody else, Julius is not out there by himself, and just because Brunson's not in there, we are paying you to play basketball. So we need the rest of y'all. He needs the rest of y'all. The man dropped 57. Nobody else barely showed up. You know what I'm saying? Besides him.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's a
So,
fact.
I mean, come on. He can't do this by himself at all. And when he feels like he's by himself, that's when I feel like he gets explosive too. And I'm just saying, I'm not apologizing and I'm not condoning his behavior because each one has to control themselves at the end of the day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact. Where was it? I think I rolled past it.
Give me a second. I turn up the camera.
Oh yeah, do what you gotta do. Shout out to there he is. Oh wait, no, there's one before him. Yeah, there we go. Shout out to Gideon Amankwa. Was good. G Money in the house. I appreciate you, my brother. Good to see you as always. Ron Sarmiento in the building. What's good? Happy to see you as always, my brother. West Coast Knicks is here. Salute. Appreciate you. Keith Turner in the building. What's good, Keith? Appreciate you, my brother.
Guy. That's my guy. That's my frenemy.
S Brooklyn is in the building. I guess does the S stand for South Brooklyn? I don't know. But salute to you, my brother. Good to see you. May 4th is here. What's good? Oh, okay. I see you, May 4th. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing, Keith Turner. We wanted the Mavs to lose a certain number of games, but now it's too much. So now we in danger of losing that pick. And it's not like we're going to lose the pick. It's just we're going to lose the best possible version of the pick for this year. Next year, it turns into something else. So, yeah, we want the Mavs to get out of that 11 spot and get into that play-in somehow so we can get something out of this. Charlie Cush is in the building. Salute. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. The superstars out there don't know who's available. That's very true. Let me see. Dro loves to hate is in the building. He said, good morning. I think we need to sit Randle out one game and let him see the court dynamic. Even if we lose, this will show accountability and shows Randle is not bigger than the team. Well, honestly, I will say one thing. I don't mind sitting Julius Randle out for one game. But it's not necessarily to teach him a lesson. It's because the dude plays every game and plays hella minutes. Every player needs a rest once in the blue. Even your star players, they take 1 or 2 games off throughout the season. Julius plays all 82, gives you 30 plus minutes, sometimes 40. Like, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. And I'm just saying, sometimes you got to rest somebody.
And that's taxing. It's
Yeah.
really taxing.
Now, if Brunson is not here, then you can't sit him. But if Brunson was here, with everybody else being healthy, I think you could have taken, a game off with Julius against a team, I don't know, like a Houston. But since we don't know what's going on with Brunson, and Tibbs ain't gonna do it. It's too far in the season. He ain't gonna do it. It is what it is. That's who Tibbs is. So it's a good idea, though. I think he needs a little, and I also do think that makes sense what you're saying, because it's sometimes being on the court and looking at how your team plays, it allows you to see what's going on real time on the court. It helps. And I think that would be helpful for him. But I just don't see Tibbs doing it. Tibbs don't do anything unless he has to.
Agreed.
JT Riddick in the building. Salute. Let me see. There was a couple more people I just want to shout out real quick. Paris Doug is in the building. He said, I laugh when I hear people say they don't know what's wrong. Oh, Julius is just emotional, or Tibbs is going to be Tibbs. What a joke. Julius isn't emotional. He's a rich, spoiled, immature brat. Oh, Parrish, come on, man. Look, I'm see, last year I would be kind of with you a little bit more. I don't know about the spoiled, immature brat, but I would be with you more in that Julius got to clean it up and get right. But this year, I think Julius has done that, man. You guys, like, the whole thing is Julius is not a perfect person. Julius is very complex.
Nobody is.
Exactly. And he's very emotional. Does he handle his emotions well? Sometimes no. Is he very physical in nature? Yes. And sometimes he sees red. He sees red, because I will say that what I don't like about Julius is that it takes him so long to calm down. He just that's the part that worries me about him, because you guys remember not the Orlando game, whatever, but it's the game, and I forgot who it was against, but it was last week, I think, where the whole team was trying to Tibbs grabbed Julius. I was like, yo, this is too much, man. Everybody's trying to control this dude, and he's still kind of hot. He's not calming down. When I see my coach put his hands around me after everything is gone, and I've never seen my coach do that before, I gotta say, yo, I gotta chill. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Maybe I'm getting a little crazy. Relax, because Tibbs don't put his hands around nobody, and he decided to put his arms around Julius. I said, yo, calm down, B. I'm just saying, sometimes I think you gotta chill. What do you think, Corey?
I think it's the moment. He's so caught up in the moment that he loses realization of what he's supposed to be doing. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And also too, it could be the chitter chatter, because we don't really hear what's going on the court. You understand what I'm saying? And he loses focus, and he loses foresight of what his purpose is supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And it's easier said out my mouth than done. Believe me, I've gone through it in my personal life. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it happens. It happens. But yeah, we all get it. But the fact is that what he doesn't get is that he needs to reel himself back in. He needs to reel himself. This is a personal issue that he has to do himself. Everybody, people are big on trying to fixing people in life, but sometimes it's not the people surrounding you to fix you. It's you to fix yourself. You have to understand you. You understand what I'm saying? And how to handle things. Emotions and psychological things is crazy, but it's real. You understand what I'm saying? And nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. You understand what I'm saying? Especially our star. You understand what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? For the most part, for as long as he's gonna be here, I'm gonna do everything I can to support this young man. Him, as well as RJ Barrett, as well as Obi Toppin, as well as Quickly, Brunson. It doesn't matter. The 15th man on the bench, it doesn't matter. I support what's on the front of the jersey and not what's on the back. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nah, I mean, I agree with that. That's fair. And I think what you said, that's really that's a big point to what's going on with Julius. I think I think Julius has made a lot of strides this year early to try to fix his emotions and keep stuff intact. But I don't know. I'm just on the outside looking in. I think he did a really good
Exactly.
job. I think he did a really good job of trying to suppress his emotions throughout
And,
most of the year, like keeping them
yeah,
down. The problem is when they come out, then how do you bring them back down? That's
yeah,
where I
but
think,
see,
like, as the season has gone on, it's gotten harder. Like, because now the emotions are out. So how do you calm them down? I think
Ron,
that's
Ron,
where he's at.
Ron, see, I think this is what everybody's missing right now. It's the pressure of the playoffs coming up right now.
Oh, I agree.
And
That's what I
now,
said early. I'll let you
oh,
finish.
I'm
Early,
sorry.
that's what I said. No, you good. That's what I said early. That I think because now these games mean something, things are starting to intensify. Like this is
Hmm.
where he and don't and no matter what, the garden goes back and forth. Whoever's at the line and having a hot game, they're the MVP. They start chanting
Hmm.
MVP. When he had 57, they would chant the MVP for Julius, but they usually do it for Brunson.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter what anybody says. Julius still feels like he's the leader of this team. So yeah,
Of
continue. What
course.
were you gonna say?
No, what I was trying to say is the pressure cooker of this coming on, and the fact that how I'm not gonna say failed 2 years ago, but more so did not show a good fight. You understand what I'm saying? It is wearing on him because he does not want to go out like that again. He wants to move on. You understand what I'm saying? At least to the second round, I'm pretty sure in his mind. But you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You got to play through this, bro. You know what I'm saying? I played high school basketball, you know what I'm saying? And the one thing I was fortunate, I never fouled out a game. I started, never fouled
Mm,
out a game. You know
mm,
why? Because when I knew that I had number four and I looked at my coach and he knew he needed me, I got myself together. I got myself together.
mhm,
I play within my game. No hands up, no more reaching, move my feet a little bit more. You understand what I'm
mhm,
saying? Get in there, take a foul if I had to. You know what I'm saying? As far as take a charge, I mean, you know, and I was no all-star basketball player, but I feel like I was a solid high school basketball player. You know what I mean? You know.
mhm,
But my point to you is I had to understand the game was bigger than me.
mhm,
Winning was
mhm,
more important than me getting what I feel like was my just due. You understand what I'm saying? Whether that means pass the ball or whatever the case may be, it's all about a psychological thing as far as when it goes to him. Once I feel like he, you know, unfortunately, at the end of this year, I feel like he's going to go back and revisit a lot of, especially the end of the season. He's
mhm.
going to revisit it, and he's going to be a better person. He's going to be a better person because he's done it. I've seen it time and time again when he wrote the letter to the press, to the fans. You understand what I'm saying? And then last year he had a horrible season. You know what I'm saying? Then this year, how he came back. It's going to be a progressive step with him, and we as Knicks fans need to keep supporting him, of course, as long as he's in the season. If not, you know what I'm saying, because management has seen something in him that we don't see. You understand what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And management has done a decent job this year comparatively to the managements we have dealt with for over the last 10 seasons. You know what I mean? So,
That's the point. Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, I think that it's one of those things where it's gonna be a love hate thing with fans and Julius. As long as he's here, it's gonna go up and down, man. It's just how it is. But I think that as we all have to kind of understand that he's here and we need him, and he continues to give his all for the team, no matter how you feel about him. understand that he's somebody out there that you know is going to try to give his all for the team. Now, sometimes, of course, I ain't gonna lie, like on the defensive end, sometimes it look like he kind of loafing out there. But you know, other than those moments, he usually gives it all. And offensively, you know, he gives it all. On the offensive side, he's always 100%. But it's just like, you know, he's our player, and we're gonna have to deal with certain things. It only looks bad when other guys aren't stepping up. When other guys aren't stepping up, Julius looks horrible.
Yeah, and see, that's the point. You know what I'm saying? You know, we need Deuce to step up. When your number is called, you need to step on that court and do what you got to do and play with confidence. You know what I'm saying? That goes out to my man McBride as well as Obi Toppin. Like, come on, bro. You understand what I'm saying? We all need to step it up, especially right now, because you never know at any given moment your number's going to be called at any moment.
I agree.
You know,
and you know, let me tell you, I just wanted to, before I lose the thought, when you brought up Obi, man, Obi ain't it, man. Obi is not it. I hate, and I liked Obi, but I don't see how he fits this team, what they're trying to do and how they're trying to play currently. He doesn't give them what they need, and he is just not, man. He's in the corner. He's in the corner. Like, they put Grimes in the corner because they love the way they just use him that way. You know what I mean? Like, Grimes is like the bailout. Obi can't be the bailout because he's not efficient enough to be the bailout. But he's also not aggressive enough to say, "Hey, I'm not the bailout. Let me get the ball. Let me do something." But he's somewhere in between.
Took the words out my mouth.
Yeah,
you just took the words out my mouth. He lacks the nasty. For all that God-given athleticism, all that God-given talent, he's just like the nice boy next door that you want your daughter to marry. You understand what I'm saying? As far as what I see on the court. But the New York needs him to be, you know what I'm saying, that grimy dude from Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? That's like, you know, no disrespect to Brownsville, but somebody straight out the hood. We need that type of Obi. We don't need that happy-go-lucky, I'm happy to be here, I've always wanted to be a Knick, nice guy, smiling. Nah, bro. We need that dude who's going to come in and to some degree scare the hell out you and feel like he might punch you in the mouth. That's what Julius is. If Julius could rub some of that aggressiveness onto Obi, you know what I'm saying, as far as going to the rim, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to lie to you, I thought this dude was going to be like the next Amari Stoudemire, getting the ball in the post, he's going to turn around and dunk on you.
I did too. I did too.
You know what I'm saying? But nah, he's the dude leaking, running to the wing, you know, running out, and like, here, let me give you a highlight dunk. Nah, bro, we don't need that. We need you to be just like that same dude that was in Dayton. You know what I'm saying? Where's that Obi Toppin? You know what I'm saying? That propelled him. You know what I'm saying? To that spot in the NCAA, what should have been that NCAA tournament.
No, that's a fact. I agree with you.
I wish I had a 35-minute chance to sit down there and have a talk to him. You know what I'm saying? Just getting his ears. It's like he needs a shot of adrenaline. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, dude, where are you at?
I don't know what it is with him, man. But you know what I will say is that I just feel like he's a nice guy. Nothing wrong with that. And he's a good person to have in the organization, nice person to build around as far as media wise and stuff. But if it's not translating on the court, then what are we really talking about? Because the first first thing on it. It's not about selling tickets and all this stuff. The Garden's always sold out. It's not about all this other merchandising and stuff that happens regardless. It's about the product on the court. And right now, Obi just looks like he's just out there just to be out. Look, when I was watching the game yesterday, because I rewatched the Orlando game, he hit a 3, right? And it was his first points of the game. And you should have seen the smile on his face. Like it's like one of those like, oh, I'm happy I got one. Like, no, I don't want to see we passed that. That was a couple years ago. Like, I'm done with that. I don't want to see that. I want, okay, I hit the 3. Now let's get me in the game. I want the ball again. Let me do something else with it. Like, I gotta, like, it's just something going on with Obi that he doesn't fit Tibbs. And we already know how Tibbs is with Obi. It's just not going to work here. It's just not going to work here. Unless Tibbs wasn't the coach, but I don't see it happening for Obi here. I just don't see it. And I sucks because I like Obi. I think Obi could be something. He's shown that he has talent. The dude led Dayton. It was Dayton, I believe.
The Flyers.
He was averaging 29, 30 points a game. The dude is a talent. It's just you can't see it in this type of situation. And he's got to be like a go-to guy in order to show you that type of talent. And he ain't going to be that here with the Knicks. No way. Not
of course not.
Julius is here.
No, it's not. And, unfortunately, the insurance policy is worn out. So, and I hate to say this, and I do not want to say this, because words have power and your mouth is very strong. I do not want to see him go, but I want to see him wake the hell up. For real. He needs to wake up. I mean, like, he's still stuck on the rookie coma thing. Like, I'm just, hey, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. I'm so proud. I'm so happy. Nah, man, you need to turn that into some kind of aggression and step that up, brother. For real.
Sometimes you need to be out of your comfort zone, man. I mean, it's the perfect story, the perfect storm for him. Brooklyn kid playing for the New York Knicks. All that's in his favor, being around his family all the time. Sometimes maybe you need to be somewhere like Cleveland where you far away from people, or like Oklahoma City, and then you got to work for everything, and you don't have the silver spoon, and then it's a little bit more difficult, and you got to fight for it. Not that he doesn't have to fight here, but I'm saying maybe the situation being different for him might fuel him a little bit more because
because he's already got the key to the city.
Yeah, I'm like, and he's everything he loves, fashion. He's out there. He's in the streets in New York, going to these different events. Like this is great for Obi. But I'm just saying,
it's like he's already on his retirement plan. Like, yeah, I'm doing all the things that I should have done. You know what I'm saying? But it's like all premature. It's all premature without him exceeding his expectations. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. If he can garner something better out there, in the off season, I mean, let's move while the iron's hot when it comes to him. Yeah, unfortunately, I hate to see him go, and I hear you, Excel, because I feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted him here. Him here. And I love the story, just like you just explained. But at the end of the day, cut ties, let's go. Move on. Because we are in the business of winning. And I feel like Leon Rose knows this right now. You know what I'm saying? Especially after the dramatic way our season's turned around. You got to think from December, and look at we on. We've been one of the most winningest teams from December on in the league right now. You know what I'm saying? Despite these last few games.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean here, Nick Yak. Appreciate you, my brother. Good to see you as always. I don't know what you mean. I think I just said what I said. Maybe you wrote this in the beginning when I was just saying something. I just said that Obi's not it. I think I just said that. But I loved Obi coming into the league and what he could possibly do for us, but he hasn't shown it. Like, at a certain point, the kid gloves go off, right? And then you hope the person the takes the next step. And I thought Obi was primed to take the next step this year. We have not seen it. What we've seen is his best friend on the team has taken the next step. Quickly has tried to get better and has improved on the defensive end. He still is a work in progress on offense. As good as he can be, he takes a backseat sometimes with his game, but Quickly he's working towards it. Obi has not showed me that he can take it to the next level, be more aggressive, and really, as I said before, and I'm kind of done with saying it now. Obi hasn't shown me that aggression that I need to see from a guy who comes in with his type of skill set. If he's a dunker,
Facts.
then I expect him dunking on people or making the game very explosive and very physical so that the other team has to prepare for that. And even if it don't go in, like first off, you guys notice that look, Obi hasn't been here that long. But all the time he's been here, up until this year, I never seen Obi miss a dunk. Obi has missed multiple dunks this year. Obi has lost the ball out of his hands because he doesn't have the focus when he has an easy layup or dunk opportunity. I never seen Obi. Obi would go between his legs and dunk in the game multiple times and never missed it. Like, you got to have supreme confidence to do that, knowing that your coach is looking at you on the side like, yo, if he missed this dunk, I'm pulling him right out the game. You can't showboat unless you know it's going down. And I'm not saying he missed those type of dunks. He missed like chippies this year. Like, Obi's just lacking the focus that he needs to be
Hold,
as
hold up, Ron.
a better player. Yeah.
Let me back you up. I haven't seen Obi dunk on anybody this season, like posterized nobody
Oh yeah,
at
yeah.
all. Let's start from there. You understand what I'm saying? And I get your point. Like, when he's wide open, he's blowing dunks. I haven't seen him dunk on a person, let alone, you know what I'm saying, what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Which makes it even worse. What you're saying. My point, you are so correct, to back you up, man. And it's crazy. It's crazy. The dude has what, a 48, 49-inch vertical? You can't tell me you can't spin around and boom. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Even a fingertip dunk. I seen RJ do that. Hell, I seen Julius Randle does that. He's done that. Gone to the rim, looked right at that person and said, yeah, I'm taking it right to you. He did it last game. So come on.
Well, listen, Parrish, look, me and you we were here about Obi. Okay, while everybody else was on the Randle train, me and you both shared in the Obi love. Okay, now my Obi love has gone down a lot, man, because Obi doesn't show me that type of aggression that I need to see from him. However, the other thing, what you're saying here, he said, terrible Obi Reed. If you aren't in the plan of a coach and you're a good guy, you just play along. I challenge you both that if Julius was out 10 games in a row, you will go 7-3 and Obi will rise up. I'm not doubting that if Obi plays more minutes and has to be more of a focal point in the offense, that he will play a little better. My problem is that Obi looks like he lacks confidence. When Obi's confidence is not good and when it's waning, he doesn't play like he needs to play. And you're in the NBA. This is not like, you're playing AAU games and just the street court. This is the NBA. Your confidence needs to remain on cloud nine. Like, you got to stay high in order to be out there and be successful. Obi can't have those lapses. And I get it. And as I said, this is not the right system for Obi under Tibbs. Obi needs to go somewhere else where maybe, he can be more of a focal point. I already said, if I'm telling you that he can go somewhere else and be a focal point, that means he can be a focal point somewhere else. The dude scored 30 points per game for Dayton. I know he's got talent. I'm saying with this Knicks team and with Tibbs, he ain't it. It's not working here. It could it change? I don't think so. I'm being honest right now. I don't think so, because how many years are we going to go by seeing him go back and forth with his game and how we're not seeing it? And then Julius is here and Julius is balling out. He's having some moments right now, but for the most part, Julius has been balling out. There's just no room for Obi. Obi wasn't brought here to be the backup to Julius Randle. We all know the story. Obi was supposed to be replacing Julius Randle, but it worked out the way it worked out. So now he's in this situation. That's all I'm trying to say, Paris. Like, Obi needs to go elsewhere and be the guy somewhere else. If he wants to have a good NBA career and really kind of get the most out of his game, I don't think it's going to be here with New York. He's just in a bad position. He plays the power forward. If he played a different position, maybe, but no, he's behind Julius. I can't see it.
Maybe he needs to go next door.
Listen, you know what? You took the words out of my mouth, Corey. I don't see it happening, but I had put together a package where the Knicks could get Mikal Bridges and send Obi and some other players over to Brooklyn and some picks. But yeah, I would say you're right. Maybe he does need to go next door.
Unfortunately, and I hate to see him go. Believe me, he's one of the last people I want to see leave the team. But and I love this young man. I mean, perfect story, like we've been saying. But maybe he needs to go next door. Maybe he needs to go get roughed up over there. You know what I'm saying? And he could be the focal point of their rebuilding. But you know, as far as I'm concerned, if you're not maximizing the moments and the minutes that you get, then adios, bro. I'm sorry. And I hate to see you go. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's gonna hurt to see him leave, but he might have to be the one on the chopping block. Because especially in the playoffs, if he doesn't step up and show me another side of him, you understand what I'm saying? Then it's not worth it anymore. It's not worth it anymore. It's not worth wasting his time and the fans' time. With that said, though, Ron, I have to step out. Man, it was a pleasure.
Man, dude, I appreciate being here, man. It was nice to chop it up with you, brother.
Yes, sir. And I'm still gonna be in the chat, but I just got to go in the house real quick to take care of some business.
I hear you, brother. Do what you got to do, man. Good to see you, Corey.
All right, peace.
All right, man. So yeah, thank you, Sherwin. I apologize. Damn, man. You know, I'm looking at it myself. You ain't never lied, B. I don't know how I'm confusing him with, for whatever reason. So why all this time I'm thinking, was I confusing him with someone else? All this time I was thinking that Obi averaged 30 points a game for Dayton. And you're right, he averaged 20. And he wasn't even the leading scorer. He was the second leading scorer. Why did I think he averaged 30? I don't know. I'm so confused now. Who did I confuse him with? All this time I've been thinking he averaged 30. And I got to tell you, honestly, that kind of helped me have a little bit more cachet for Obi when I'm talking about it. I'm like, okay, this guy's got a lot of talent. I mean, if he did this, then, you know, wow. Who was I confusing him with? I got to be honest, man. 10 points is huge. If I'm giving this guy 30 points per game and he averaged 20 points per game, that's a huge difference. Knowing his limitations on defense, I don't know why we drafted OP. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guy. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be that way. I don't know why we drafted Obi. I don't know. Because I thought he was I don't know why I thought he averaged 30. I'm bugging, man. I'm bugging because you know what? It ain't that easy to average 30 points per game, no matter where you are. And I gave him 30. Damn, I'm bugging. Yo, that is crazy. I'm tripping. But I think the Knicks are tripping because I don't know if you knew this guy had all these limitations defensively. Offensively, his game is kind of limited too. He's a dunker who could hit a open three. Why did we draft him? I don't know. Shoot. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, I don't know. I'm floored right now. I'm floored, folks. I don't know. Shout out to my guy Jigga Man Porto in the building. Shout out Jigga Man. Appreciate you guys. If you haven't checked out the Knicks Morning Brew sports channel. I don't know what you're doing. What are you waiting for? You got Yankees Morning Brew and Knicks Morning Brew. Morning Brew Sports is it's a great place to hear about what's going on with these teams. Also, they get great guests, fantastic dialogue and banter between the three of them. They're hilarious. Shout out to my guy Phil Porto, Jiggaman Porto, and my guy Hector. Great job. Check them out on YouTube, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Join the army. You know what I mean? Appreciate you guys, man, as always. Man, I'm thrown right now. This is gonna mess with me all day. Why did I think Obi averaged 30? Like, that's some serious ball right there. I just kind of lessened how easy it is to get 30 points per game. Yeah, because you know who used to get Michael Beasley. Beasley averaged like 33 points per game, and he was one of the highest scoring players in the nation in college sports. Michael Beasley was a bucket. Damn, why am I? I feel horrible. I feel horrible about what I said, and now I feel horrible about how I think about Obi. I don't get it. I don't know why the Knicks drafted him. I'm confused now. Anyway, Sha Powers, what's up? What's good? Appreciate you, my brother. Shout out to Sha and my guy Divine, man. Real talk. Knicks Real Talk. Definitely shout out to you guys for always continuing to put on a great show. Guys, if you haven't, just go check them out. Like, comment, subscribe, show your love for Knicks Real Talk on YouTube with my guy Sha Powers and Divine. Let's see. Sherwin, what is it with you, man? Why is it always like I feel like I'm going back and forth with, like, this is not high school, man. I don't want to keep going back and forth. I already said what I said about Randle. I'm not taking it back. How I felt about Randle is how I felt about Randle last year. That's it. Let's move on, man. I feel differently about Randle this year. Can I not feel one way one year and then change how I feel this year? Randle played a certain way last year. He was a selfish teammate. He had emotional issues. He didn't know how to control himself. And he did a lot of stuff that I didn't like on the court with regards to his teammates and his coaching staff. That's it. Point blank, period. End of story. Move on. Let's go. Let's wrap it up, man. Come on, man. I don't want to keep talking about how I felt about Randle. I already said how I felt about Randle, and I told you how I felt about Randle this year. I've said it many shows. This is show 23 on Know the Ledge on Saturdays. That's 23 weeks. I've mentioned Randle and how I feel about him many times. I'm not going to continue to go back and forth with anybody about how I felt about Randle last year. I did it. I already gave Randle his props. I showed him love for the differences that he's made in his game, and has showed that he not only has been working on himself mentally, but has been a better teammate. I've even pointed out what he's done this year in regards to being a better teammate, bigging up his guys, yelling at them when they're not doing something right, taking accountability, trying to show leadership, but also acknowledging when they do well. I've talked about all of this already. Why you keep going back and forth with the same narrative? Move on already, Sherwin. That's it. It's over. Damn. I don't know why we keep going back and forth on the same thing. You keep telling me that I feel a certain way about Randle. You keep telling me that I love Obi and I'm a Randle hater. Look, it's getting old already. It's over. It's over. I gave Randle his props. I'm rocking with what he's doing this year, and I'm bigging him up for what he did. The question on the thumbnail was, did Quickley escalate the issue, or was Randle out of line? And I gave you my opinion on both sides of it. I said Randle needs to understand that his team is starting to get a little fed up with the constant antics and it happening over. These are game time situations where he could cost them possessions, technical fouls, free opportunities for the other team, or even possibly get himself thrown out of the game. That's important to a team. Okay. What about that, Sherwin? If Randle gets tossed out of every game because he can't control his emotions, how good are the Knicks then, huh? You're going to see 57 points with Randle in the locker room? What the hell is going on here? What are we talking about? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm going at. And I gave the other side that Quickley may have escalated the situation by grabbing Randle immediately and then making it seem a certain way to the ref. And then when we finally got over to the ref is like, "Oh, your team is trying to control you because you keep doing this stuff. You can't get no, Tech, get up out of here." That's all I said. That was my point. Did Quickley hurt the situation? Now, it was mentioned in the chat that Tibbs said something about his team needs to step up and get him. Well, Quickley was trying to do that, and it looked like it backfired. So now Quickley's going to say to Tibbs next time he talks to Tibbs, if he hasn't done it already, "Yeah, I'm not doing that no more. You see how he acted, man. He got no control. Yeah, I get it. It's important for me to try to hold. No, but if he's going to act that way, I'm not doing it." And he's well within his rights. Nothing wrong with that. That's my point. That's all I'm trying to say. That was the only thing. But you keep trying to push this narrative, and I don't know why. I don't get it. I'm a Knicks fan. Okay? The Knicks are my team. I'm going to root for the players on my team. And when the players do well, I'm going to acknowledge them. When the players don't do well, I'm going to bring that up. I do not have any favoritism for anybody on the team. I comment on everybody. I have ripped RJ all year because of certain things he's done. And I've said that this is the worst I've seen RJ since I've seen him play through college and all. Right? But he's still my favorite player on the Knicks. Go figure. What are we talking about? All right, I'm done. I'm moving on. Oh, man. Infamous new king in the building. Salute. What's good? He says, "Is he a leader or not?" Hey, yo, it's crazy to me that 4 years and more improved team talent and good team record, and he still can't get right. It's all due to selfishness straight up. Yeah, I don't know, Infamous new king. I just think that Randle he's a certain type of player, and we love it when it goes well because the same fire that he plays with when he's losing control is the same fire he plays with when he's in control. It may work sometimes, and then sometimes it doesn't work. But this is who he is, and he's on the team. If we would have traded him, got somebody else, we wouldn't have this issue. But he's here, and because he's here, we've saw the benefit of it. I mean, we're in the 5th seed. We've won a lot of games with Julius. Julius has played, I think, every game, so he's been here for all of that, and he's helped the team. He can hurt the team at times too, so that I understand. I'm just saying, like, he's here, and we just want the best for what he's doing out there. Eric Surreal is in the building. Salute. What's good? I appreciate you as always. Good to see you. No, I don't know. Look, and that's my team. That's what I grew up on. The 90s Knicks is my time. And those Knicks were extra physical, fighting for no reason. And in some cases, it hurt us. But we don't talk about that because that Knicks team was so good that it didn't matter. They always were flirting around 50 wins, and they made the playoffs every year, during the heyday. But there was games where guys got thrown out or got bad technicals, and we had a lot of enforcers on that team. So it happened a lot, but it was a different NBA. um let me see. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Namret 12 is in the building. What's good? Salute to you. He said, "Winning is the only goal." I hear you. At this point, it's all that matters. And especially now that they've lost 3 in a row. Winning should be their main concern. Uh, Dunn Ross, what's good? He said Tibbs should make a decision for Randle. Make Randle as a center for one night, but if he gets fouls, then he should know how Mitch and Hartenstein feels, or sit him. But it could be bad. Yeah, you know, I, at this point, Dunn Ross, I just think that Randle is what Randle is. He's been in the league what 7 years, 8 years, something like that. He's no young pup like that needs to that you can mold and teach. Like Randle is what Randle is. He can still get better, but on his own. But he already has everything that he's gonna learn. You know what I mean? Like now it's who he is. And can he be better? Can he control himself better and just work on aspects of his game? But he's not gonna learn much new at this point in his game. He's got so many tendencies that he's already grown into. So it's all about figuring out how to maneuver the best pieces around him, how to make it easier so that he because honestly, I think this is my opinion. I think if Randle has to score 57, the Knicks are in trouble. Some people might say, "Oh, he was cooking. It's good to see." I don't think that's the type of basketball the Knicks should be playing. I don't think Jalen Brunson should be scoring 40 points either. I'm saying it in more of a that they need to play ISO team. Okay, there need to be a team oriented focus, right? The ball needs to be moved around, and guys can get the 30 points, 30 plus or whatever. Randle can get his 30 plus. Brunson might be able to get his 30 plus on any given night. But when these guys are scoring 40 or more, it's a problem to me. I think it's bad because it means other guys are not getting the touches or not stepping up. Some people might say, "Oh, this guy's cooking. Look how many points he's." No, I think it's horrible because guess what? All those touches that he's getting. One, Julius was gassed in that game and couldn't give you much in the fourth quarter. Two, because they kept feeding him, kept going back to him. I think it affected how effective other people are because they're just sitting around. They're not getting the touches. They're not getting a rhythm. And then when you need them to hit a shot because the other defense is now clamped up on Julius, what happens? That's how you lose games. That's my opinion. I may be in the minority on that, but that's how I think. I feel like you got to continue to move the ball. You can feed the person who's hot and get them going, right? And then what you do is when that person gets a rest, right? Move the ball, you play your normal game plan. When the person comes back in the game, you feed him again in the beginning to see if he's still got that same rhythm going. Keep it going, but you got to still move the ball around. There was a point where Julius felt like, I know probably not, but it felt like Julius was scoring. He was getting the ball every possession in the third quarter in that game. Now we needed it because he was hot, but there's a downside to it. If he's getting every possession, then other guys are not getting in the flow of the offense. So then what happens is eventually the defense, if you're playing a team that knows and has an idea about defense, they're going to try to stop the best player on the court. And so somebody else got to step up. You're asking somebody else to step up when they haven't shot the ball in how many minutes? You know what I mean? I'm just saying stuff like that. That's all I'm trying to get at. I'm just trying to see the Knicks play better basketball as a team. Let me see. Shout out to Ken. I see you. What's good? Appreciate you. Let me see here. Let me see. Sorry, I'm not talking. I'm looking something up. Man. Let me see. Okay. So I think I saw something. Ken, I think you said something about no college player averaged 30 points for a season. Uh Hmm. I don't want to go back too far because those are ridiculous. Like Hersey Hawkins. Who knew Hersey Hawkins averaged 36 points per game? That's crazy. And like Kevin Bradshaw averaged 37 points per game in college. That's nuts. But yeah, guys, remember Bo Kimball? Bo Kimball, his friend died. Was it his friend Hank Gathers? And then he used to shoot the free throws lefty to honor Hank. He averaged 35 points per game. Hank Gathers, before he met his untimely demise that he passed away from the cardiac issue, he averaged 32 points per game. That Loyola Marymount team was crazy. Wow, Kevin Bradshaw averaged 31 in 1989 and averaged 37 in 1990. Who the hell is Kevin Bradshaw? Who is this? Glenn Robinson averaged 30. What was his name? Big Dog? What was his name? It was not Big Country. That was, the other dude. Glenn Robinson was the dog or something. I don't know. I can't remember. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf averaged 30. Charles Jones, I don't know who that is. Chris Clemens. Sounds familiar. He averaged 30. Then you got a bunch of guys who averaged 29. Isaiah Ryder averaged 29 points per game. Wow. Who knew? Wow. Hank Gathers averaged 29 in the season prior to when he was averaging 30 when unfortunately he passed away. Jimmer Fredette averaged 29, 28.86. That's 29. Kurt Thomas, guys, New York Knicks. Kurt Thomas averaged 28.93. So basically 29 points per game in college. Stephen Curry averaged 28.6. Vin Baker. All right, I'm not going to keep going down the list. And then I see what's his face that I was just mentioning. I guess he didn't average 33. He just must have had some really good games because they made it seem like he led the nation. Went down in college history as one of the best scorers ever. Michael Beasley. I don't know what is going on, man. I'm gonna have to start fact checking some of this stuff I be seeing on the internet. It's crazy. But yeah, he definitely led the nation in scoring. He was on this list. But who is this Kevin Bradshaw? Kevin Bradshaw. I don't know, guys. If you guys know who Kevin Bradshaw is, he went to US International. I'm sure that's not a Division I school, but who the heck is he? Kevin Bradshaw. Huh. I don't know. You just took me down the rabbit hole, Ken. Now I'm gonna have to start looking into this because I'm curious about some of these people. 19 Con Man, New York City in the building. Salute. Let me see here. Lion of Judah is in the building. Shalom. What's going on, my brother? Appreciate you. Do this one more again, just in case. Who else we have? Did I get it? Snipes Entertainment is in the building. Salute. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here and rocking. Hey, your new Knicks City and Squad in the building. What's going on, man? Definitely check their podcast out. Appreciate them. Oh, my bad, Ken. My fault. Stafford Don is in the building. Salute, Stafford. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, I don't. I think that's it for that. I don't see any more that I need to mention. Okay, but whatever. Anyway, so back to our regularly scheduled programming, guys. I think that the bottom line here is things have gotten just a little too crazy with our emotions when it comes to this Nick team. Think it gets all over the place. We get really invested in everything. Oh, Wiz, I put the link out there, so you're by all means, brother, whenever. Um, I just think that we get a little too caught up in everything. We're emotional. New Yorkers are very emotional too. And so, in some cases, some of you guys probably can relate and understand what Julius Randle goes through. Maybe sometimes it's a little too much, and even you would say that, but you understand that he's passionate. And New York sports, we're passionate fans, and we hope our players are passionate too. I get it, but it's just one of those things. Dwayne Dennis, yeah. Hank Gathers and Lynn Bias, that was drafted by the Celtics, also died. He was supposed to be just as good as Michael Jordan. Yeah, Lynn Bias was incredible. I will tell you, I didn't know too much about Lynn Bias's game. As I got a little older and understood what was going on, I realized that he was incredible, a special talent. And it's freaking wild because I think I was watching Snowfall. You guys know the show Snowfall on FX, um, talking about the drug game and everything. And they had featured, I think, the first season. They talked about how the drug game was on the rise, and they kind of correlated the drugs that was being sold on the show to that was being moved around the country. And in effect, they showed a Lynn Bias dying, catching an overdose because of the drugs that was being pumped out, on the show. So it was kind of wild. Um, Crazy stuff. But I will tell you, Hank Gathers, I remember very well. I used to watch a lot of college basketball during that time. I was younger. I was a big Duke fan. I'm still a Duke fan, but I'm not a big Duke fan. I'll be honest. I don't watch a lot of college sports anymore. My teams were Duke and Notre Dame, but with Duke, Notre Dame for football, by the way. But with Duke, by just watching the Sweet 16, the Final Four, all that good stuff, and watching Loyola Marymount Cinderella story and how good they were. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I believe there was somebody on Loyola Marymount that was a shooter. Was it Judd Bushler? I can't remember if Bushler was on Loyola Marymount or on Arizona. But whatever. Irregardless, the point is that Loyola Marymount team was incredible to watch. Guys, if y'all haven't checked out Loyola Marymount's highlights from back then, that team put up hella points. I mean, crazy scoring coming out of Loyola Marymount. As I just showed you guys with the stats, Hank Gathers averaged 30 points per game. Bo Kimball was averaging 30 plus points. Two guys averaging that much points on the same team. But that team scored crazy points. I mean, they were dusting dudes. Like it was fun to watch. And they had a great Cinderella story. And I watched all of that. And I even watched, unfortunately, Hank Gathers passing away. I saw that when it was happening. That was a horrible scene. He didn't die on the court. Well, technically, I guess maybe he did, but I guess they said he died on the way to the hospital. He had like a cardiac arrest. It was a horrible scene. And then just watching the emotions of that whole season, March Madness and Loyola Marymount and Bo Kimball shooting all his free throws with his left hand and making a lot of them too, in honor of him. It was a wild story. It was a tough time, really tough to watch. But yeah, I remember all that. I watched all that. So let me get my guy Wiz in here. Wiz, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you, man.
Salute, man. I was actually happy to come on until I heard that you're a Duke fan. I said, okay, I gotta get out of here. I know the Tar Heels are the best.
That's how I felt when I found out you were a Tar Heel fan and a Yankee fan at that. I was like, oh, come on, Wiz.
I only go with superstars, man. Winners, except for my Knicks. So we both share the sorrow of the Knicks. Giants, Yankees. even Islanders, but back in the 70s. I know it's been a long time.
Wow,
And of
Islanders
course,
over the Rangers, huh?
I know it's my only strange pick is somehow. No, I saw Mike Bossy play when he was young. Mike Bossy with a wrist shot. And I don't know what happened. I got hooked on Bossy. So when he got drafted by the Islanders, I'm like, oh, he's with the Islanders. And I'm like, okay, they're New York. Let me go for them. Even though they're Long Island, which is New York
well,
kind of sort of.
I mean, listen, don't feel bad, Wiz, because you know what? Alan Hahn, when we were talking to him, he told us how he became an Islander fan, and the story was like, okay, that makes sense. I don't know why you're an Islander fan, but hey, good for you. But he's also a Jet fan, so not everybody's perfect. That's all I'm saying. Not everybody's perfect. It's okay.
Exactly. But you're a Mets fan, right? So
yeah. You know, I understand what perfect looks like and what non-perfect looks like. I've seen it a lot of my life.
Exactly. Oh man, yeah. I jumped on for. First of all, I'm not trying to defend my boy Deuce and even Quentin with Grimes and stuff, but Freezy and them came up with the stat of the of usage and shots taken, the most shots taken, top 26 in the nation of shots taken. Randle, number 1. I think Brunson was 23 and RJ was 26. This is 3 players in the nation with RJ and Brunson missing 10 games each or so. And they're still most taken. So that means Grimes has had very few shots. Mitch is a reason to complain because he doesn't get touches more than every so often he gets a game where he gets 4 touches. Other than his offensive rebounds. And of course, coming off the bench, I'm not going to try to defend Obi, but definitely Deuce. And someone put in the chat that the coach fixed Deuce's shot. Deuce shot was never off. He was a little long all the time, but he was never off. Off means that your form is not good. You're missing to the sides. But when you go long, it means you're young and excited. And you just intensively playing defense, and you run back down to the next court. You get the ball for the first time in the whole game, and you just, rushing that shot with a little too much power. So Obi does need work, and but I think if Obi got 20 minutes a game or more, I think Obi would turn out to be a really solid player. I know you misquoted the 30 points, which is 20 points plus a game, and why did they draft? That was funny.
No, but seriously, Wiz. I'm not, I'm not saying it to be like a jerk or come out a certain way. I honestly, I don't know what it was, but maybe it's I'm misremembering, or the highlight package I saw of Obi just happened to be games where he scored 30 points or more. But I don't know why
he did that.
I thought he averaged. I know he did, but I don't know why I thought he averaged 30 points per game. I thought it was one of those situations where, okay, he dunks, he shoots threes, but he was putting up a good amount of points, even though he don't play good defense. And I'm like, okay, that's a talent. If it's there, do you pass it up? But if he was just averaging 20 points per game in college basketball, not playing any defense and very limited, and I don't know. I don't know. I look back at it. It's tough.
Dayton's a small school, right? And to actually show up and be NCAA player of the game from Dayton means you had to put up some crazy numbers, it sounds like.
Right.
And that's one reason why I'd have thought 30, 25 plus at least.
That's what I thought too. I don't know. Maybe it's I got swayed by certain highlights and stuff that I was seeing, because he was always scoring 30 points. I don't know. Maybe I was bugging out. I don't know. Well, I definitely was bugging out.
25-10 minimum, but he was 20 and 7.5, and that's a tough. But somehow he made enough impact on the national stage for them to make him NCAA Player of the Year. I mean, that's a tough thing to get, to overlook. So somehow, Knicks got swayed a little bit and said, "Oh my goodness, Player of the Year, power forward, Randle may or may not be the guy. Where should we go?" And it just, they went for him. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a miss, because obviously what Halliburton was right there behind him. We could have traded back. Okay, from that point of view, tough call. But Obi was the best power forward available at the time, from the point of view of any kind of recruiting, any kind of scouting at the time. So I can't blame them for drafting him. Obviously, it turned out badly because Randle turned out the next year. Obi gets 5-10 minutes a game, and then he gets Tibbs, who I think is the confidence killer for these young guys sometimes when they're not getting big minutes. So if he gives it the okay, his step of approval like he did with Grimes and IQ, those guys flourish or begin to flourish. But when he gives you that quick pull or he gives you 25 seconds in a game, that's 2 games you reduce 25 seconds. I mean, I'd have been so insulted if I got 25 seconds at the end of the first half. And I'm like, why even put me in, coach? I mean, I didn't have to even break a sweat. I could have just gone back to the locker room, put on my clothes, go to the club. Now I'm going to have to take a shower because of 25 seconds you made me go sweat. Man, my uniform could have been pristine for the next game. I would have to change anything. But that was insulting, man. I think that was Tibbs locked into his rotations, into his fixed schedule. And I just think Tibbs makes those guys worry about their shot too much. And or he's making some kind of, mind game for them where they're just not confident enough. So as far as the overall Randle, again, if Randle turns it up in the playoffs, man, we gotta keep going, man. But if Randle does anything to cause us any, especially emotional or reaction in the playoffs, and he causes even one game, we gotta look around. And I'm saying I'll go for Kuzma. I'll try to get Jeremy Grant. I'll go to the draft, even though Tibbs actually if Randle messes up in the playoffs, it means the Knicks mess up in the playoffs because we need Randle. And that would mean if we mess up in the playoffs badly enough, we gotta let Tibbs go. Which means, and if Tibbs go, I think we should just let Randle go with him, bring in, let Bryant coach or, Doko or, again, I said Calipari is the only way I keep Randle. If Calipari comes, if he gets dumped by Kentucky, I don't know if he has gotten dumped yet. If he does, and Calipari comes to the Knicks, I think he could possibly be the only way if Randle, is still acting up, that someone, only Calipari can possibly calm him down. I don't think there's Popovich, of course, is a coach that he'd probably respect, or a superstar player who could come in here and help with Brunson, whatever, twofold balance the system where there's no one ever missing from the floor. That's not going to keep Randle, settled. So, but I mean, people are like Calipari. I'm like, man, I like Calipari, man. I mean, I know he's different, but man, he's put out some really good players, man. And I think him with Quickley and Randle reunited, who knows what those guys could put together. But great show though, man. I'm looking around. Me and Sherwood have had little battles too. So if you ever need a backup, you and me if you want to jump, meet Sherwood at the garden one day outside the garden. Let's go meet Sherwood outside the garden. I'm looking, Sherwood. I got love for you.
Listen,
Nick
I know who
Turner.
I know who Sherwin is, bro. I don't care
Yeah, I
about
know.
what Sherwin says. Sherwin makes good points when he makes his points. And sometimes I like the fact that because I don't have as much time as I used to have before to kind of do certain things and have more stat stuff available at my disposal. I will in the future, but right now it's a little, with everything going on, it's been kind of crazy.
Absolutely.
And so Sherwin sometimes will correct me, or if he sees something like, "Oh, Ron, listen, let me show you that's not right," and I'm cool with that. That's fine. I appreciate that. It's just Sherwin doesn't drop the narrative about Randle and the Obi thing, and I've moved on. I already said what I said, so I want to get rid of that narrative. It ain't true. I don't care who it is. If RJ Barrett, remember when RJ when Tibbs benched RJ for the fourth quarter and the overtime, basically, and he didn't come out and do the press conference.
Right.
What if RJ just decided to take that same position throughout the rest of the season?
Oh wow.
And just start to act funky with his teammates. Do you know how much fire I would be lighting under RJ Barrett right now? Do you know how much I would be saying about RJ Barrett? This is what I'm trying to say. I don't care who it is. It's not about Randle, or it's not about, it's like whatever you're doing certain things that I think you're affecting the team. You're not showing yourself to be a good teammate, or, and I feel like it's hurting everybody on the whole. I'm going to call you out for it. And that's the type of stuff that I don't like. You could play bad.
Right.
things may not work out. But when you're a bad teammate type, or when you're not there for your guys, like to me, it's like anything. When you put on a uniform, you're a part of a unit, and I guess it's different. Like when you're in the military, but when you do that, I feel like, you guys are like one. So no matter what's going on, everybody's supposed to be there for their guys. Just like they're for you, you would expect them that they think that you're going to be there for them. So when I don't see that stuff, that's when I feel a certain way. But anyway, that's pretty much what I had to say about that stuff. Shout out to DJ Space Ghost in the crap. Let me go back to that. Hold on. Shout out to DJ Space Ghost in the building. I appreciate you, brother. Good to see you as always. Hope you're doing well. Lion of Judah, I did. That is crazy. Wow. You said I played with Lynn Bias and his brother James, who both played in Maryland when I was at station at Fort Meade back in the night. That's crazy, man. So you got to witness his talent firsthand. Yeah, wow. I mean, it's incredible. I like I said, I know he was so good, but I never really got to know too much about his game. I just heard that he could have been the next big thing. I hear it. It's a shame. Drugs kind of took a hold. That's crazy.
Wow.
The Knicks had a player that was very good too. And drugs kind of took a hold of his game. I forgot what his name was from the 70s. Mr. Triple Double. He used to average. He had not average, but he had a lot of triple doubles. He goes down as like, I think he's got one of the most triple doubles in Knicks history. And that's not saying a lot, but I can't remember his name. Maybe you guys know. I know Sherwin might know. There was someone else that I saw here that I wanted to say what's up to. D Coolest. I think I said what's up to you, but if I didn't, salute to you, my brother. Good to see you. Yeah, Corey Lee. Yes, I like Notre Dame. Yeah. I mean, but now that like college sports has kind of been so different for me. I haven't been invested in a lot. I couldn't tell you the roster of Notre Dame right now. I used to know it back in the day when Jerome Bettis was there. Was it Jerome Brown or Reggie Brown? Something. He was another running back. They used to have like a 1-2 punch. I can't remember. But I used to really be high on Notre Dame back in the day. Okay, CAA Mafia is in the building. Salute. Appreciate you. Good to see you, brother. So he says, what has Randle achieved in his career for us to deal with his tantrums every week? A most improved player and a 5th seed in his 10-year career.
Wow.
Well, I will say this. Julius is a complex person, guys. You love him or hate him, but you already know what he is. And to Wiz's point, I don't even know if Coach Calipari could do anything at this point with Julius, because I think Julius has become like there's certain things that are happening with Julius that have developed over time that he's just a different person. And I say that because what I did the other day was I started to watch a whole bunch of old Julius Randle games, not with the Knicks, with the Lakers for the little time he was there, with the Pelicans. Julius Randle was a happy guy. He played physical. He had emotions, but he was a happy guy. Julius doesn't look as happy as he was. Julius he was kind of a little bit more carefree. First off, he wasn't the man on those teams. He wasn't asked to be the man on those teams. He's with the Knicks, and now he's the man. And I think he's approaching things differently. There's a lot more pressure being here in New York. New York hasn't won anything in such a long time, and they're looking for somebody for answers. And I feel like Julius is taking on that burden, whether or not we've asked him to, but he's doing it. It's just he's just a different guy. At that time, I don't know if he had a family.
There we go. I was gonna say that.
A lot of things have changed. Yeah, a lot of things have changed in his life. So I just think he's grown up. He's become a father, a man, all this, becoming a real man when you get older and have responsibility, all that stuff. And I just think he's a different person now. So I don't know. I don't even know if Calipari could slow him down with his emotions, but I will tell you that something's different about him. But this is who he is. So now we got to say, okay, well, he's not this guy anymore. He's this guy. So now how do we get the best out of him? And what can we do to help him? Because everybody needs something. You got to know what buttons to push. I don't know if they know everything that they need to about the whole entire team. Because I think that it's a little crazy that we have these moments where we've lost 3 games in a row. You playing Deuce McBride limited minutes after he was so successful in a game before. When you needed him, he stepped up and played great. I think Deuce is important on the defensive end. He gives you a little bit more pressure that you're not getting. We talked about the couple games. Orlando game, Grimes was a lot better, but the games prior to that, the last 2 or 3, I'm going to say 2 games prior to that, there was moments where Grimes was getting cooked, coming off the screens and the curls. Deuce is pretty good when it comes to that stuff. I just think that sometimes as a coach, you gotta, make some different moves. What are we lacking right now? What's not working? Let me give us a different look. We can't afford to be losing 3 games in a row, but we've done it. Look at how close things are becoming. It's like, this is the type of stuff. This is why I tell you that I have issues with playoff tips. That's why he worries me, because when it comes down to crunch time, you have to make these split-second decisions and games are on the line. And like, this may not be the game-ending call. Like, oh, if I don't make this decision, we still have a chance to win the game. But this might start it. You don't make a good decision in the second quarter, the other team might go off on a run, and then it's so hard for you to come back and fight back into the game that it could be an issue. So stuff like that is what I worry about. I feel really bad looking at Jericho Sims on the bench, wasting away, doing nothing. Like, to me, I don't like it. I know what we've done. I know how we got here, but I'm telling you, there's moments where you need to put somebody out there to help you. Was it the Minnesota game? I think it was the Minnesota game where a lot of guys were in foul trouble. Guys were with 3 fouls, like Hartenstein and Mitch both had 3 fouls early in the game, and he didn't even look towards Jericho Sims' way. Like I said it before, if Jericho may not be the answer, but put him out there, let him take 5-6 minutes, get some ticky-tack fouls, whatever it is, but he gives your guys some time, gives them a breather, spells them a little bit so they're not picking up the fouls. Whatever. I'm gonna go back and forth with that, Wiz, when it comes to Tibbs and how he uses certain guys, but it is what it is, man.
Oh no, I'm on the same train, man. That's exactly what I'm looking at. The fact that he doesn't really use a 9-man rotation, he really does 8-man most of the time, because a lot of times the 9th guy, one guy in that group sometimes gets 5 minutes, which again is an 8th-man rotation to me, and the fact that he doesn't even have any flexibility to rotate out one of the 9th man with someone like a Sims or a Deuce, just be a disruptor, because 140 points, 127 points. I mean, how do you cause for a defensive guru and a team in 3 back-to-back games? You're having the worst shooting team in the NBA. The Miami Heat put up 120 plus points on you after getting 140 points on your game before that. I just don't understand how that happens. And you don't try something different. Just one little change, like a Sims or a Deuce. I mean, I definitely know Fournier and Rose should be written off right now. They both kind of even said it, and we kind of know it. We're just waiting for Rose's contract to expire so we can, have some cap space. Fournier, and people talking about trading RJ. There are teams out there who will give us something for RJ. We can get off RJ without giving up picks. I mean, they're talking about giving up a first round unprotected for. I'm like, no. There are teams out there who still think RJ can make their team better. And so we're not going to get back real value for him. But it's okay to get back something that will get us, some cap space or some kind of movement where we can actually make a room for, I'm saying, a Kuzma. Obviously everyone knows Jeremy Grant is in the picture. We want to get someone like that. And since we may not have a draft pick this year, we got to look free agency because we may have a trade available. I don't see any trades that are coming this summer. But again, no matter what people say about we don't see trades, no one saw the Halliburton trade either, right? I mean, there are trades that were made that we didn't see. So we could always encourage a team with certain players and certain movements to be like, obviously, you guys are not going to be here next year, or this player right now is going to have an expiring contract like Fournier. Here's a player, and here's a pick or two. Well, let me have that player. Orlando is going to be loaded this summer. I mean, they just have depth. Even Detroit's got some depth, and that means next year I'm getting worried about those guys stepping up and making a run, because this is the year where we should actually hammer those guys down, not let them beat us in little, small games like this. What just happened with Orlando? Obviously,
Right.
Mancaro is improving, and he's gonna get better and better. And that whole squad, man. When I'm looking at guys like Shaden Sharp in there, I'm like, oh man, what would we have done if we just traded 2 of our first rounders to move up a little bit, not go for that 4th and lock it to the 4th pick? If they go to 7, man, anything like that. I'm
Yeah,
just
but
saying. Oh, even go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, but the only problem is, Wiz, is like, regardless of these players that we might have been able to get or could have done things a little differently, they still got to come in and play under Tibbs.
Right.
And if they don't fit, like the Shade and Sharp fit Tibbs, I'm just saying, like, you seen, it's taken him a while to kind of get. He has his moments with Portland. He's shown, but Portland's got a lot of guys at the same position that are kind of ahead of him. And you haven't really seen him really crack their roster rotation the way he should, but he will in time.
Yep.
But for the Knicks, could you imagine if he was here? He'd be on the bench.
Oh,
we wouldn't see him.
Probably G League.
That's the
Probably
problem.
G League.
Yeah, that's the problem. And JT Riddick says the problem is poor shot selection, and Randle is also guilty of that. This becomes such a childish debate, player versus player, but this notion that one player is completely removed the fault is wild. Yeah, I can agree with that. That everybody is a part of it, and has a lot to do with what's going on. It's not just coaching; it's also the players too. But hold on, let me say what I want to say. I'll hold it for 1 second because I do want to acknowledge the chat. Thank you guys. That is who I was talking about to everybody. Corey Lee, yes, it was Michael Ray Richardson. Yeah. That's the guy I was talking about on the Knicks, who also died tragically because of or had his game affected because of drugs, and we know what happened later in life. Yeah, that's who I was talking. May 4th, Lion of Judah, Dwayne. Yes, appreciate you guys. But what I was gonna say is, here's another thing. This is where, like, I agree. If Tibbs has a certain way that he's looking at it with the team, like, I decided to play these guys, and these guys are gonna sit, and that's just how it is. That's fine. Okay. This is where I go back and forth with how Tibbs does things. You are playing the Orlando Magic, one of the worst teams in the league. However, they do give you problems every time you play them, but they're still one of the worst teams in the league. You telling me against one of the worst teams in the league, which also happens to be your player's former team and where he was the guy over there. You telling me you can't put Fournier in the game when you're struggling scoring and see if he can give you a little lightning in a bottle against Orlando? You don't want to take chances against a Miami Heat, against a Boston, against those, Philadelphia, against Sacramento, those teams, because, defensively, as much as he gives you offensively, it could come back to bite you defensively. We're talking about Orlando or Charlotte. These are teams that you can afford to experiment. Let me throw, we're not hitting. Everybody's missing shots. You know what? Let me throw Fournier out there. Those are the games where you can do that stuff. This is where I have a problem with Tibbs. These are the games where you take the chances because you're like, you know what? The bottom line is I just need to win this game. Okay? We play Orlando today and say we were playing Boston the next day. Okay, in the Boston game, sorry, Fournier, I got to sit you again. I don't care what you did in this game. I needed you for this game. This is why I have a problem with Tibbs. He's not situational enough to say, I'm going to do whatever I need to do for this particular game, and I don't care. Listen, next game, I have to go back to who I am. This is what it is. But if I need you, I may go get you. That's my problem with Tibbs. There's no reason why Fournier, a former Orlando Magic player who led that team, can't go out there if we're struggling offensively and can't get the buckets we need, can't go out there and give us some time. We already talked about it, much to my displeasure. Him and RJ on defense are not that far apart. So there's no reason why Fournier couldn't have gone out there and spelled, guys, and then tried to give us a little lightning in a bottle. I get so frustrated with that type of stuff. I don't know why. I don't know.
I know what you mean, man. I mean, yeah, they lack of, but it's risk averse. So the front office stuff, they're risk averse. They can't pull the trigger. because it's the potential for failure scares them. I think. I mean, it looks like they just really wanted to make, which is not necessarily a bad move, small incremental steps, but in the case of, I mean, like one game, 5 or 10 minutes in one game, there's no reason why Tibbs just can't make that small little twist, little adjustment for that moment in time. It's not like he's, signing Fournier to a, 3-year, or 4-year, $80 million contract or something. No, he's actually giving him 5 or 10 minutes in one game, and his risk averse to try something new or outside his normal comfort zone just looks like it scares him, like he's frozen. Maybe, it's some ability where he can't decide. I mean, obviously, sometimes people get locked in and they're just stuck. And he freezes in time in in-game situations where he just locks in and can't see that his player's gassed, or he can't see that one player's getting, beaten all the time, or the injury potential is there for somebody. I mean, I know I'm going back to last year, but when RJ was in that game with less than a minute left and we're up by 20, and he left him in and he almost twisted his ankle, that right there showed me Tibbs. Like, something is in his brain he can't see, nor can he hear or let his assistants come in his ear and say, hey, something. The Dallas, 33-second loss when we're up by 9 or 33 seconds or 8. There's nothing in his brain that actually had that free throw shot be like, hey, why don't you put Sims, Ihart, and Mitch on the foul line for the rebound? I mean, he did not rotate our defense, offense at all that game. The game after that, he started doing it. And we started, going on a winning streak. So even the 9-man rotation, I think, is a false narrative. The 9-man rotation. So again, the term where, that correlation doesn't imply causation, because he went to a 9-man rotation, but at the same time he took out Fournier and, out of the starting lineup, and he put in, his players that he wanted. He wanted Grimes in there. He wanted, even Cam. Cam sat down too. I said, took 2 players out and then went to 9-man rotation. So which one caused this turnaround? Was it the 9-man rotation or taking out 2 players who were kind of, for lack of a better term, a little lax in defense? I think the lax in defense movement was more important than the 9-man rotation. If he had stayed 10 and took Fournier and Cam out, I think we would have still gone on that streak and done better, because we got to the guys who weren't playing his style of defense and would have had the same run. So it's not the 9-man rotation, it's the movement of those players, and perhaps to a certain extent tighten the rotation a little bit to 9 or 10. And so if it was 10 men, what would they have said if we kept, Sims in there in the rotation, or kept boosting that rotation and just simply took out Fournier and Cam? I think we would have done as well, if not even better, because now Deuce would have been more experienced, and he had the potential to potentially step in right now and start instead of IQ, because I think the narrative he did last year was, we traded for Cam for a player who was not in rotation. So sorry, why are you guys putting me Cam when Knox was on in rotation? 1 year later, we traded Cam out of the rotation for Josh Hart. Oh, in the rotation, not for 5 or 10 minutes, for like 20 plus minutes, his very first game with us, without even probably a practice. He's like, oh, I do that. It is okay to put a player in the rotation for a player who's not in the rotation before, if it's a player I want. The next narrative was, I want to keep my second unit intact, so I want to have Sim start instead of, Ihart starting, because he was, obviously echelon was Mitch, Ihart, Sims. Mitch gets injured, it should be Ihart, Sims backup, right? But he goes, no, I want to keep my second unit intact, so I'm going to keep Ihart there, and rookie Sims, who played very little minutes last year, most of the G League, gets put in the starting rotation. I want to keep my second unit intact. What happened when Brunson got hurt? IQ gets put into the rotation, and McBride gets put in the second unit, destroying the second unit unity and having them have to get adjusted to McBride. And IQ now is in the starting lineup, rather than staying the same narrative of McBride starts, keep us getting intact with Ike coming off the bench, 6th man of the year, to be that fire plug that lights us up when he comes in. You don't have to play McBride 30 minutes plus. He could start, but Deuce comes up. Ike comes off the bench with a fire, same intensity, second unit still intact. Boom, don't change or disrupt that continuity. I think his tips all the way around. He contracts himself, and he also does kind of moves where he just kind of like blanks out and freezes up on making the right rotations, situationally and otherwise. So yeah. I'm sorry, I don't get on Tibbs, but it all points to Tibbs, and almost everything we look at it almost points back to Tibbs, even to a certain extent. Obviously, Randle's fatigue, mental fatigue, whatever it is that's causing him to lose control. Too many minutes, too many games. The most minutes in the season of any player, or among the top 3, if not the most. And then Brunson coming back from injury, just play a full game. Don't even see how you're doing, and then slowly adjust you back in, especially when I got guys who need some minutes to get acclimated into the system, into the rotation, or be ready to be there in case you hurt your wrist next week. Oh, you did have hurt his wrist again next week, or his thumb. So, man.
Well, look, I'm just gonna say that the team is playing bad right now. Okay, that's the bottom line. The team just isn't playing well. Okay, they ought to get it together. It's a quick fix. Okay, maybe the Knicks just need a good practice or something, and they got to figure out what's happening. But one of the big issues that this team has done now, has it helped them? Yes, it helped them, but that's because we were hot. The Knicks have been shooting way too many 3-point shots. They are not a good 3-point shooting team, and we got happy-go-lucky. We got happy feet. We started hitting some, and then we went crazy. And then the problem is you start getting used to that. Of course, what guys don't like to shoot? Of course, they're gonna keep shooting. Problem is when you're not hitting them, someone has to say, listen, we kind of got to get back to the fundamentals. We got to get back to scoring points in the paint and doing what got us here. When we won our first 8-game win streak, it was because of our points in the paint and our good defense. It wasn't because of 3-point shooting. Remember that one earlier in the year? That was because of that. And someone needs to say something. I don't know who could say something to the players to get them to play back to the way. Anyway, so yeah, someone needs to say something. So Tibbs got to step up and do what he needs to do to get these guys focused on back to the basics. Because I'll tell you another thing. There's about 7 or 8 games left, right? At what point do you say we got to get back to our fundamentals and our basics? Because the playoffs is right around the corner. You better get your stuff solid in a row and not go back to you creating something that wasn't there to begin with. You just started shooting threes. Julius saw them going in. Oh, okay. Brunson saw his efficiency going in. Oh, okay. We're hitting. RJ said, well, these guys are shooting them. I'm going to keep shooting them. He was shooting them, and then other guys started pulling. Quickly said, oh, they got the green light. I got the green light. Okay, let's go. And then it becomes a free-for-all. Like, we got to start taking good shots again. If the 3 is there and you're wide open, fine. But don't just have the guy in front of you do a little cross dribble and then step back and shoot the 3, which is what Quickley did recently in a number of games. Like, you can't be doing that type of stuff. We got to get back to what we do well and effectively and efficiently, because now it's going to matter. Let me tell you, this Knicks team with all these threes we shooting and the lack of defensive awareness that we've been showing these last 3 games, we will get cleaned out in the first round of the playoffs. I'm telling you right now, everybody's going to be pissed off. They're going to say Julius is the issue. This is the issue. Tibbs is the issue. It's going to all come back. So there's something to think about. We got to get it together. Ron Cleveland is in the building. Salute, man. Let's get him up in here. What's going on, brother?
On, fellas, man. What's going on? Hey,
look at him dressed on Saturday like he got Sunday's best on. Boy.
Yeah, man. I'm out with the family, man. They're at the mall right now doing a little shopping. You know what I mean? But man, I'm listening to y'all, man. But you know what hit me the other day, man? But this team, and I gotta say this, but Julius Randle, and I'm not even joking. If we really think about it, Julius Randle is the type of dude that'll get you killed out in public, man. Like he's somebody you couldn't go out with, because if somebody was to say something to him, he'll let his temper outweigh his good common sense. He won't even think, and he'll get you caught up. You know, I thought about that. You know what I mean? And how that translates to basketball. Well, the fact that his mindset is it's such a ticking time bomb, you're gonna have the team on edge. You know what I mean? You're gonna have players don't even know how to come at you. And that's gonna be a sad thing to watch, because typically your best players, 9 times out of 10, supposed to be your leaders. You know, they're supposed to be your leaders on your team. And if your leader you can't talk to the leader, man, how your leader gonna lead? You know what I mean? So when I look at Julius Randle having a great season, man, numbers wise, but this stuff popping up again, Ron, I don't know about y'all, man, but I don't want to see this on this team again next year. And I like Julius. I really like his game. I like what I've seen from him this year, the bounce back. But when a person is mentally unstable, that's not good for your team. And I'm going to tell you another player he remind me of, but this player, for as unstable as he was, he knew how to check himself at times. And that was Rasheed Wallace from my North Carolina Tar Heels. Love Rasheed. But I knew he was a head case too. But Julius Randle is on a whole nother level. You see what I'm saying? He don't know when to quit. And now you trying to go at your players, man. And then there's reports about Quickley saying he want to be a starter. Mitch crying. You know that stuff that came out about Cam. You know what I mean? It's looking bad. And if the Knicks don't tighten this thing up and get this thing right, we're going to be this got on the verge of being one of the most monumental collapse in the NBA history. From a team being in the 5th seed to potentially being in the play-in or out the playoffs. Because it could very well happen. It could very well happen. We got, 7 games left?
About that, yeah.
And I'm not even confident in the way the Knicks playing right now. You hit something on the head, man, when you said that we're not a good three-point shooting team. We haven't been. We went on a little stretch. But when you think about it, for most of the season early on, we weren't a good three-point shooting team. And just like you said, we were beating teams because we was winning the points in the paint battle, and we weren't allowing people to score in the paint, and we could get those second chance shots. And typically when you're getting second chance shots, the reason why you're getting them is because you can't shoot. So
that's a good point.
So, you know what I mean? You look at it, man, and Tibbs got to hold himself accountable too. I can't with Tibbs no more. Because how can you sit back as a coach and watch what's going on and don't address it? And I'm going to tell you, he teed me off with how he's handled Grimes the last few games. We've been waiting on Grimes to get out this shooting slump. The man is out the shooting slump. And you let this man sit on the bench in crucial points when we need points. We need points. Randle has disappeared the past few games, but Grimes was there. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's a lot to unpack. But, and I'll say this last thing. We have to get a true small forward in the offseason. RJ has to be traded. There's no way around it. I know we got a lot of RJ supporters. Hey, he wearing a Knicks uniform. Hey, I support anybody wearing them until you out of them. But in order for this team to take the next step, we have to have a true small forward, because if you watch RJ, when RJ plays against teams that have players with length, that's a problem for him. And he's going to pretty much face that night in and night out because he's an undersized small forward. And his game, he's not a small forward. RJ plays like a power forward that trapped in a shooting guard's body. And he's not a shooting guard. So you know, the Knicks got a lot of heavy lifting to do in the offseason. Like I told Wiz yesterday, man. I told everybody that was listening to D's yesterday, I'm excited for the offseason. I'm excited for the offseason because I'm telling you right now, I'm not too enthused about the playoffs because the way it's looking, if we play Cleveland, we're gonna get washed up. Spin cycle.
Wow, man.
That's tough, man. But problem is, who would you rather play if not Cleveland?
I think any of those teams gonna wash us up.
Right now, I mean, right now, I agree. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier.
Right now, we limping.
Yeah, I was saying that earlier. Yep.
Yeah, any of those teams will wash us up, man. It won't be even pretty, you know. But you know, then there's the catch-22, Ron. For change to happen, we can't go in a series against Cleveland and Cleveland take them 7 games and we lose, because then there ain't gonna be much change. I just got a feeling they won't make much changes. It's gonna have to be a collapse it's going to have to be an embarrassment in the playoffs for something to happen. Because think about it. As much as we know we need a true small forward on this team, if we go toe-to-toe with Cleveland and they barely knock us out in the game 7, you think they're going to make many changes in the offseason?
I don't see it. If it's not, that's something that I worry about. You know what I mean? Like, what are they gonna do if the Knicks play somewhat decent? Well, they say, oh well, we can get another year out of this bunch and go from there. I don't know. I'm worried about it. I am worried about it.
Yeah.
Right. CM Mafia asked the question, if we get no picks, Dallas doesn't convey. That means we have no first round picks. And if we get bounced in the playoffs, let's say even go play it or something, what do we do in the summer? What do we do? Free agency, draft.
I don't know, man. I'm not even ready to think about it because I got to do a little bit of a deep dive to see what's out there. What can we really get and how much cap flexibility do we have? What are the Knicks going to do to maneuver around? You know, it's tough. And then plus now, you know, we brought in Josh Hart and to May 4th's point. I know he was just saying it because people complaining about everything these days that Josh Hart hasn't played that great in the past 5 games or so, 6 games, whatever it's been. He's had moments, but yeah, he struggled a little bit with his decision making. He's trying to force the issue. The Knicks are playing from behind in a lot of situations, and he's trying to push the pace, and or sometimes he kind of gets caught up. And plus, the opposing team knows that he's pushing the pace now, so they're watching him and they're trying to crowd him because they know he's going straight to the basket. He's going to do the layup on the left or right hand side, just depending on what's open. So they're just trying to crowd him when he gets down there, like waiting for him. We know he's pushing it. Let's get him to that point, and then we try to crowd him and see if he can make a bad decision. And he's been doing that a little bit lately, but he'll be fine. I just think that it's a cluster. Like everything is looking bad. The shot selection is bad. The efficiency is bad. The defense has been bad. That's the key.
Really
the defense has been bad. So because I don't know how they're letting teams that don't hit good from outside knock down all these threes at incredible clips, and then you got a team. It's I don't want to go.
You know what
it's
it is,
too
though,
much,
Ron?
man.
You know what it is? Is we just reverted back to who he was before that Josh Hart trade. This is the same things we were doing before that trade. Remember,
That's true.
We weren't a good team defensively. You know what I mean? We were still doing the same drop coverage on defense and leaving people wide open. The problem, you know what the problem was back then? Well, it wasn't a problem. Teams weren't hitting a bunch of those wide open threes, but now teams are knocking them down. So it's highlighting the deficiencies in that defense, and we're not covering. And think about it. How long have we been having problems with that high pick and roll? All season long.
Forever.
All season long. That's what killed us the other night with Wendell Carter. I mean, he shot about 2 or 3 of them. They ran the same play over and over. You know what I mean? Toward the end of that game. So when you look in Josh Hart, I don't have no complaints with Josh Hart game. And I'm going to tell you what the problem is really. The problem is you got too many other people who ain't playing defense. So Josh Hart, he can't cover up for 3 people in your lineup that ain't playing defense. Because Julius Randle ain't been playing defense as of late. RJ, we know his defense is trash. And who's the other guy? There's 3. And then you got Brunson who struggles, you know, because of his size. I mean, he tries, but he struggles. You know what I mean? So when Hart is in the game, Hart can't make up for everybody's deficiency, man. You can't hide everybody when people ain't doing their job.
And Hart's issues the past few games could be that, you know, Brunson has been, you know, either questionable or out. So maybe part of it is that he's trying to adjust. He came in and he and Brunson clicked right because they had the history. So maybe the fact he lost his partner, his right-hand man, you know, or him being a right-hand man to Brunson, he didn't have that to work with. So somehow that you know, dynamic threw his game off some. I think Hart is a solid, you know, glue guy, but I would sign him. I mean, he's taking D Rose's contract and potentially Fournier part of the 4 years.
Somewhere in between.
Yeah.
But D Rose comes off this year, but we got
Right.
Fournier for one more.
Yep.
So and then I think D Rose is making 14 million or 13?
Yeah,
14 or 13.
13, 14. Yep.
And see that?
So no, go ahead, Ron.
That's a problem. And see, the thing is something that people overlook it too is the coaching malpractice. You know what I mean? When you got two people sitting on your bench taking up this much money and they ain't seeing the floor, even in times of crisis, like what the Knicks are in basically right now, trying to figure out again who they are. I mean, you got Derrick Rose sitting on that bench, and of course Derrick Rose ain't no long-term answer. We know that. But if Brunson is hurt, that's what you got. You break the glass and bring Derrick Rose on that floor and let Derrick Rose get some time. You know what I mean? You got Deuce McBride. Let him come in the starting lineup. That way you keep Quickley in that second lineup, because Quickley as a starting point guard, I don't want nobody talking to me no more about that. That experiment for me is over with. Quickley is a shooter, and that's where he's best at. When Quickley got to make decisions for everybody else, yeah, he might have a game where he flashed like he looked like a point guard. But if you look at his overall body of work, when he's in the game, he plays like a two guard. He's looking for his shots. Even when he's at the point guard position, steadily dribbling the ball, taking ill-advised shots a lot of times. You know what I mean? It's just a lot to untap with this team, but Tom got to take a brunt of this too. When you're struggling to shoot the ball and you got a guy like Evan Fournier on your bench who's a professional shooter, and you paying him and you're not using him, that's coaching malpractice. I understand you don't want to have to play him, but sometimes situation dictates, and that separates good coaches from great coaches. Because when they know they need to get something, they'll dust the guy off that ain't played 30 games and put them in there and get what they need to win the game. And Tibbs don't do that.
Because what happened now, if we this summer we signed Josh, we can't find a trade for RJ, so we keep him. But let's say we grab a free agent like Kuzma. Now we'll have to put somebody who's making 20 mil on the bench, potentially, or more.
It's crazy.
Because Brunson, RJ, unless you're going to put Grimes on the bench. So what? We're going to do Brunson, RJ, Kuzma, Randle, and Mitch as starters.
I'm going to tell you what, if I'm in that front office, Wiz, I'm telling you right now, RJ is gone tomorrow.
Oh,
RJ is gone, and I'm going to adjust that small forward accordingly position, because Grimes look like he's starting to be the two guard that we expect him to be. You know he's going to play defense. You know what I mean? RJ to me, and I've always felt this way, RJ is not a third option, man. And Ron, think about this. I mean, let's really think about this. On a championship level team, a team with aspirations of a championship, that third option is normally an efficient shooter, meaning they don't need a lot of shots to get their points. With RJ is a volume shooter. I don't care what nobody says. He's a volume shooter. He has to take a lot of shots. Typically, those are your number one and your number two options, the guys who getting a lot of shots. And so that's why they got to move off of him, man. Hey, fellas, I got to run, man. The missus and my lady's back. You know, hey, I'm going to holler at y'all, man. I'm going to keep listening. Y'all have a good one.
You too, brother. Good to see you, man.
All right.
All right, brother. Appreciate Ron. Man in the building. I also want to shout out Jimmy Henry. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. He said Tibbs overuses the same resources which decrease their durability, and that is evidence of poor asset management and leadership. Our players are our resources. I hear that, Jimmy Henry. Yeah, like the Boogie Down BX is in the building. Salute. They need to go 5-2. Yeah.
Right. But I want to actually, again, we do it all the time, Ron, but man, no one should dismiss the fact we appreciate and recognize that this team is a winning team right now with a winning record. We appreciate that. We admire Randle's great plays, all-star play. All these players we appreciate. Us throwing in ideas and constructive criticism or thoughts is not to the detriment of the team, to insult them, to consider them less than. It's that we see the great potential they have, and we have these ideas and thoughts that we can express without being considered haters. So people are like, we're not complaining. We're looking at some flaws, which everyone has, and we're gonna we're gonna point it out, and we're gonna say, hey, this is what I think the flaw is. This is what I think a better way is, and we have different opinions. So for those who are thinking, we're not appreciating that this team is plus 10 right now, I think, or plus 9.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I'm very happy with that. I actually considered once we signed Brunson, I go, that's at least 5 games above last year's, record, minimum 5. I thought if we got Donovan Mitchell, it'd be at least 10. So it's even better now. It's going to probably be 10 games better than last year's record. And hopefully in the playoffs, 4th, 5th, or 6th. Hopefully we don't fall to 7. But either way, and again, we're not going to even, also, I'm not going to celebrate and jump on the fact that we win 1 game. I'm going to be happy if we win the series, but if we don't win the series and we don't go 6 or 7 games minimum with hard-fought games, which are the last one to get, if we get knocked out, then yes, I consider this still a disappointing season because we have the potential to win that first round game if it's Cleveland. Obviously, Philadelphia, Boston, Milwaukee, those are tough opponents, and those opponents deserve to be 1, 2, 3 in the in the conference, and therefore losing to them is no shame at all. Cleveland can be beat. I think it's going to be tough for us, but they can be beat, and maybe a 7-game series. So a tightly fought 7-game season, I'm happy with. So I love this team, man. I mean, again, last year I advocated to keep the team as is. I didn't even say bring in Brunson. Let's run it again. Without Kemba, without 40 in the starting lineup, and I was going to be happy with whatever results came up. We made 2 little tweaks. I and Brunson. We then brought in Josh, and I like the team we have right now. So I'm okay with us trying 1 more year with him. Sorry.
No, that's cool. I hear you. I agree with you. I'm gonna ask a question, and then people are gonna feel a little way about it. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, that's the question. Boy. How important is Mitch? And you know what? Let me do this. Let me say it. If I'm gonna call him out, might as well say his name the right way, huh? How about that? How important is Mitchell Robinson if we are hitting our shots? And the reason why I say that, guys, is Mitchell Robinson's game offensively is limited, right? We know that. Is he a good help defender? Yes. And lately he's been getting some timely blocks. He's definitely helped out on the defensive end, but so has Hartenstein. He's been getting some timely blocks too. But let's just call a spade a spade. Mitchell Robinson's key to fame, okay, his key asset that he provides for this New York Knicks team, he's one of the best in the NBA, is his offensive rebounding.
Yes.
But if the Knicks are a better, more efficient offensive unit, and they're taking better shots and hitting shots at a higher efficient clip, how important is Mitchell Robinson to our success? A guy who doesn't do much offensively, who is good of a defensive player that he thinks he is or wants to be. Is he really though? So my question is, if the Knicks do what they got to do and clean stuff up, whether it be in the offseason or whatever is going on with this team, if they get better offensively, how important is Mitchell Robinson in the end? Like, I wouldn't be, if the rumors are true, and I see little stuff going back and forth, and all Mitchell Robinson doing is liking people who say certain things about what he's got going on. That doesn't mean that's his intention, but they're doing it with certain teams that, Spurs and Dallas, he's a Texas dude, so you see how it goes. But if that is his intention deep down, if he's got a lot going on family wise, as he said, and maybe he thinks that the grass might be greener somewhere else, hey, if that's the case, sometimes you got to let him go. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I don't know, Wiz. I don't know.
I know. I mean, It's always difficult looking at a player with at least one really strong part of the game, and consider getting rid of that person or letting that person go. But at the same time, the pros and cons of having a player who doesn't contribute offensively. If we're shooting well offensively, like the game where both teams shot 50% plus from two, and actually 60% from three, almost the name did. We are looking at where the offensive rebounds. If we're shooting 40+% from three and 50% plus or 60 from two, there won't be a lot of offensive rebounds, right? So in Mitch got what do you get, 6 or something rebounds or 8? We're like, what did Mitch do? Well, it can happen, and it looks like he's of no value in that kind of game because other than, again, deterrent as a defensive force, is that enough? That's Rudy Gobert, right? Rudy Gobert is a deterrent defensively. Obviously, he was tradable. They got a lot of pieces for him. Too many, I think, but there's value there. The thing is, can we move Mitch, and how important is center anyway in today's NBA? It's not important anymore. It's not as important anymore. So I think if we can get a strong enough perimeter defense and a decent, not superstar, rim protector, shooting efficiently offensively with our great perimeter defense, which is where the NBA is right now, is sufficient to win an NBA championship, i.e. Golden State Warriors. So, Mitch, not critical. Valuable, not critical. Expendable, yes.
Well, I'll say this. I think Mitch is a very good defensive player. He's not great. He's not what he thinks he is. There's tons of guys that are better defensively at the position than him. Not tons. Let me not exaggerate. There's a good amount of guys that are better at the position than he is. Right. Not a ton, but there's a good amount. And then the other thing is defensively overall in the league, there's guys who play better defense at their positions than Mitch, which was that's what holds him off of first team all defense, second team, because there's other guys that play really good defense in the league. Is Mitch taking the road towards that? Yes. Is he there yet? No, not yet, but he can get there. But the problem is, it's not a problem about Mitch and his value. I like Mitch. I'm happy he's on the team. I'm happy they paid him. He deserved his money. He was getting paid the least amount as opposed to other players. With his output that he was giving the Knicks, he was getting paid pennies. He deserved to get his bread. Problem is Mitch always has something to say. Mitch is never happy. Now, granted, we went down this rabbit hole a little bit. Maybe the organization and the front office promised him something when he signed, and they're not coming through on the promise. We don't know. But I will say that it just seems like Mitch is always saying something. Granted, guys, this is the same guy, Mitchell Robinson, who fired 4 different agents before he picked his 5th agent. He's not happy about something, he changes his mind or feels it differently, he can go up and down. So I don't know what's up with Mitch. And he also apologized because he said he's been having a lot of things going on personally. And we know Mitch has had stuff going on personally in the past, and he's acted certain ways. And so, he's got things going on, and it is what it is. But I just think that if you look at Mitch's value to the team, it's enormous on the defensive side because we got, he's a rim protector. But if the Knicks play better, more efficient basketball, and he's not getting those offensive rebounds to the clip that he is, because he gets so many because we're an inefficient shooting team. There's always opportunities to come off the rim. For someone, I feel like, maybe he needs to kind of pipe down a little bit. I just think he needs to be happy with the team, understand that we have a chance to make the playoffs. We're in the 5th seed. Hartenstein has been very effective in playing decent as a backup. Mitch, just do what you do, Mitch. Say what you want to say to the coach. Say what you want to say to your fellow teammates. I'm not getting the ball. I want to be included in the offense. Can you do certain things for me? Talk to your people. Don't talk to us. We nobody. Don't get frustrated with us. Talk to your people. That's all I'm trying to say. Mitch is the best help defender in the NBA. I can't say that that's true because there's a lot of really good help defenders in the NBA. This is perception. Is he doing a good job? Yeah, no, he's been really good for the Knicks. There's other guys that are really good at it too. I don't know if he's the best at it, but he's solid. He's a very good defender. Is he better than I'm not going to go down that road. He's not. He's not better than this dude from Memphis. So forget it. Jaren Jackson, he's not. I'm not going to go there. Shout out to Francisco Carrillo. Appreciate you. Good to see you, brother. Walter White is in the building. Salute. Appreciate. Vaughn Allen is here. What's good? Jimmy Henry, I would say no. We need to probably stay away from, as much as we wanted a bulldog here, that type of guy who's gritty, and we got one. Josh Hart is it. Okay. Josh Hart is the guy. If you want to get another guy who's a solid defender, that's fine. We could bring somebody else in here who can help the team, but you don't need too many bulldogs. All right. Because the problem is a lot of these bulldog guys, some of them are a little out of control with their personalities. Pat Beverly is out of control. Jimmy Butler, for as good as he is, Jimmy Butler might come here and blow this whole thing up. Jimmy Butler gets real upset with stuff. And see, Jimmy Butler is different from Julius in that Jimmy Butler gets mad at poor play from other people or other things that are happening. But he still does what he does. But it's still, he lets his voice be heard, and Jimmy Butler can make things crazy. So certain guys, as much as they would be great for the team as far as what they could do on the court and what they could bring, it's the locker room stuff that you got to worry about. Like, it could make things crazy here. And then imagine bringing those guys here and still having Julius here. Like, for one, if Julius has a tantrum or something happens, and imagine Pat Beverly going to try to calm Julius down. First off,
my goodness,
Julius is going to calm down, and if he don't calm down, we're going to have a problem. So I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
Jay Crowder.
Jay Crowder is he's interesting. He's interesting. That might be somebody they need to look at. That may be a Jay Crowder. That might be somebody they need to look at.
Strong enough, but level, but not, tantrumy.
Correct. Maybe they need to look at something like that. Parrish Duggar says Brunson has won multiple championships. He's going to play defense in the playoffs. He's doing rest maintenance right now. Sprained thumb. Okay. I see you. Tari Eason is a very nice type of player. But these are the guys that they're unproven. So, to get these guys, you have to give up something, right? Because they're young players that might turn into something. So a team's got to be willing to give them up. So are you willing to give up what you need to for these type of players? Now, Tari Eason would be a nice guy to go get. And maybe Houston might be willing to give him up. But Houston got a lot going on over there. I just don't know. I don't know. But I'm not opposed to him. He plays defense. He can shoot the ball a little bit. And I think over time, he's just going to get better. Same thing with Trey Murphy III. But I don't think New Orleans will let Trey Murphy III go. King Ribby in the building. Salute. He said, I know you mean Butler would let Randle have it. I know. It would be horrible, bro. Because the thing is, that's why I worry about with Randle. I think Randle is in a situation where he just has to continue to work on himself. Because I think if you put Randle in a confrontational situation, he ain't backing down. So that's like, we don't need another hot-headed dude to try to control Randle because it could get explosive. I don't know. I think Randle's like, he's in a different state right now. It's not good, guys. I'm not saying it's great. I'm just saying some people need help. You got to work with them. And Julius is a good person overall. He's a fun-loving guy. He's a good family man. And before we saw all this mental stuff with him last year, Julius was in a good headspace. He was really, remember Julius from being in the league. That's why I went back to watch old games. Julius was a happy player. Like this didn't happen, from day one. It just started to develop. We got to work with him, and hopefully we can bring him back. Because right now we need Julius. Brunson ain't gonna do this by himself. Okay, we need Brunson, Julius, and if we want to be successful in the playoffs and get out of the first round, we're gonna need RJ Barrett too. So just keep that in mind, guys. We need all of these guys. Walter White says it's tough to manage emotions, especially when Randle's play is fueled by his emotions. That's the thing. That's what I was talking about earlier, Walter White. It's the good and the bad. As much as you don't like the bad side of when emotions get to be the best of him, on the flip side, when he's going good offensively, those emotions fuel him. That's why he gets hot and he can keep it going. He has that same level of intensity. I am a fan of him too, Vaughn Allen. That's a guy I have liked from the beginning. Now, offensively, he is a question mark, but defensively, he can be lock it down. You know what I mean? Like he can lock it down for us, and he's the type of guy if we could get him, I'd be happy with that too. Because like I said, I think we can get scoring. Like you get Herb Jones in here for defense, and get yourself another guy who can shoot from the perimeter. This Knicks team is going to be a problem. Let me tell you, it's going to be a problem. But I just don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know what this Knicks team looks at. I don't know what they value, what the organization is looking at. Jimmy Henry says Mitchell is overworked and has a lot to say because no one else on the team is stating the malfunctioning team that we as fans are upset with. That could be true too. My whole thing is I just think that, right now is not the best time to be doing this. Now, he couldn't do it before because remember, he was out because he was hurt. But there was a different time where this Knicks team was playing horribly. We had no defense. We didn't have no identity. That's when Mitch should have came out and said something about whatever needs to be done. Like, I need more of a role, but he couldn't because he was hurt. Right, because it didn't make sense. Now that we're actually playing pretty good, and mind you, Mitchell was saying this while we were still winning. Now we're on this losing streak, and he said something else recently, like a little tweet or a Snapchat, but he already said what he said while we were actually winning and on a streak. I just don't think it's good timing. It doesn't make sense to do that. And we already got enough issues going on. Don't add to it. Could be. Vaughn Allen, you said, if you ask me, the media has run amok in Randle's head. Yeah, I definitely think Randle's changed a lot because of everything that took place last year. Last year was a tough one, and it's definitely affected him. And sometimes that to get back to where you were, maybe you won't, but if you can, it doesn't happen overnight. Nick Yak says, stop with the Randle nonsense. He is not punching anyone or even starting a fight with anyone. It's all made up. Well, I don't know about made up. I think who said that he's punching anyone? I don't know. Maybe that's something in the chat because I haven't seen any of that. I don't think that's the narrative. The narrative is when Randle has outbursts, sometimes it could lead to technical fouls, which is easy points for the opposition, right? And it also can take the momentum out of what the Knicks are trying to do, whether they could be winning or trying to catch up. You could deflate that situation, take the momentum out of what's going on, and or which we've seen when Randle gets too hot and it starts to blow his lid if calls aren't happening and he constantly goes back and forth with the refs. If you look at how Randle has been when he doesn't get the calls that way they're supposed to go, the players on the opposing team are just still playing basketball. But if one of those players said, you know what, this is when he's losing it. This is why I'm a cheap shot him. If they did that to Randle, Randle's out the game. Randle's going to lose it, and he is out of here. And so that's why this day and age, this new basketball that they're playing is different. In the 90s, Randle would have been out of many games. Dudes would have been cheap shotting him. They would have been doing like slick elbows. They would have been doing whatever to get in Randle's head. And a lot of our Knicks players would have been doing it. Oakley's, the Xavier McDaniels. Yeah, they would have been doing all types of dirty stuff to
the
Randle.
entire Detroit Pistons from the 80s.
Yeah, because that's
I
what
mean,
they do. They figured
that's
let's
all
push the button. We got him.
Dennis Rodman would be grabbing his butt, doing all kind of weird stuff.
Yeah, they would have been doing that crazy
But
stuff.
you notice someone mentioned it before, and it may have been D or someone else, about Randle. When he starts off shooting well, no matter what happens in the game, he doesn't get mad. So his anger is tied to his performance. So that means there's some correlation between his lack of performance and his frustration with getting fouled on top of that. So somehow he's got to find a way that if you're going to complain all the time, don't, when it's obviously a bad foul, which I don't think you can complain all the time anyway, because I'm sorry. Growing up in Brooklyn, no blood, no blood, no harm, no blood, no foul, right? I mean, unless you hit me over the head. And if I get the basket, I'm not going to look at the ref. I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to mark your face. I'm going to look like there's a clip on Kobe and this guy who fouled him. And I think it was accidental, but hit him in his head. Maybe 10 plays later, Kobe was just waiting for this pick to come around and just happened to have his elbow a little high and took the guy out. You saw Kobe was just like, I remember that, and he comes back later on and he just waits for it. Randle doesn't have to. Come on, you want to retaliate, Randle? Get the guys who fouled you hard, and just don't make it a flagrant foul and get kicked out of the game, but make them feel it, make them recognize who you are, and it should be the same mentality no matter what. Whether you're playing well or playing badly, if they foul you hard, react to that hard foul. If it's a tic-tac foul and you miss it an one because you got the basket, remember the guy and be like, I got 5 fouls to give. I'm gonna get 2 of them with you later on. But the fact that his performance and complaints are tied to his anger issue, then I think there's a problem there where he's got to find a way that just because he's mad at himself for missing shots, he shouldn't take it out on the refs and his own teammates when he doesn't get calls later on in the same game. So I'm concerned about that, and that's a part of why Randle has to be really watched closely, and why I'd even consider. That's the only reason I'd even consider trading Randle. Otherwise, again, he's a star player and potential superstar player, but you got to get that under control where he finds other ways to channel his anger and make it more productive rather than simply barking at the refs to get technicals and make costless games.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I agree with that. And shout out to Jimmy Henry. Thank you for the generous super chat. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for tuning in and being in the chat and being active and you're part of the show. So thank you. I appreciate it. Shout out to Anna Grill. What's good? Good to see you. He said Randle has to stop the bitching to the refs and overreact and turn up on defense if you're angry. Yeah, I think that is very true. I think it's not. Look, let me say this because I think, as Knicks fans, we are going crazy with this whole thing. Whereas I don't know how it is because I'm not a fan of other teams. I don't know how they going back and forth about their players. I know we go crazy over here. The bitching and moaning is an issue. I don't care if it's Randle or whoever. If Jalen Brunson bitched and moaned after every call the way Randle's doing it, I'd be mad at Jalen Brunson too, because I'm like, come on, man, we need you. You don't need to do that. Like if they don't call it, then whatever, just go down and play the game, and maybe they'll catch the next one. But too much of it is no good because it puts a target on your back with the refs. They're like, oh, he complains about everything, man. Don't worry about him. And that's what they see these rookie refs out here. These rookie refs, they got itchy trigger fingers, man. They love teeing up people and calling whatever or not calling whatever. They don't care. That's how it is. This year has been crazy. These refs don't care. The veterans may give you a pass, but them on maybe you even seen them out or whatever. Hey, Bill. Yeah. Oh, Bill, come on, man. You see what he did? Like, they have that rapport. These young refs, it's a little different. They're newer. Luka Doncic, one of the best players in the NBA, always considered to be an MVP of the league, complains so much. It's annoying. Luka is annoying the way he complains. It's ridiculous. He wants everything. You blow on him when he's about he wants everything. That is annoying. And Luka's great. And I would still be complaining if I was a fan of, like, if Luka was on the Knicks and he's complaining, I'd be saying something to him too.
Yep,
like, well, not to him, but you know what I mean? I'd be saying something about him because Luka is annoying. That's why John doesn't like Luka. He's like, he complains, he whines about everything, bro.
Right.
You know, but so my whole thing is like, it doesn't help the team. And in the end, when your team is fighting against it's like not the Knicks. The Knicks haven't done anything to say we've arrived. Okay, we're still trying to get what we've got to get. If the Knicks had arrived, if the Knicks were like a perennial playoff team, always in the top 3 in the league, then you could say, you know what, they deserve these calls. And if they're saying something, it's true. Like, look at what they do every year. They're not there yet. So when you're not there and you're still an underdog, you got to fight for whatever you got and try to go with the punches, man. They ain't giving you the calls. Okay, forget the refs. All right, I'm gonna just try to not foul people. And if I'm not getting the contact when I'm going down low, then I'm gonna shoot something where I'm not worried about drawing the contact. I just got to make the layup. I got to hit the mid-range jumper. If I go in too close and I'm getting hacked, then let me shoot this little 10-footer. Whatever it is, to avoid what the refs are putting in front of you. They're not helping your team because they're not calling what needs to be called. Then you work around them. It's all you can do. Oh, what you gonna do? Walk off the court? You're gonna say that this game's over. They ain't calling it. I'm going home. What are you gonna do?
Take the basketball and go home.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to get at. That's it.
Look at the best case scenario though, because I look at the worst case scenario. I mean, if we go on a win streak, we end up with a 4th, 5th, or 6th seed as in the playoffs. I don't want to be playing at all, so I'm not even think about playing. In the playoffs, we go on a 8-game, 9-game win streak. I mean, talk about sweeping Cleveland or Philly, then sweeping the next round, whoever it is, because you never know. Miami could knock off Milwaukee, if they play them, and then we ended up with being like the 3rd seed and play Boston or somebody else out of the Milwaukee. Then Milwaukee, I'm not scared of them, but I really love to play them in the ECF if we play them at all. I want to see that. I want to see us go through Cleveland, Boston, or Philly, Boston, then Milwaukee to make it to the finals. Because I'll show we be the best of the best.
Right.
But if we happen to end up with an 8-game win streak, sweep the first 2 rounds, and then what happens in the 3rd round, I'm talking about we're going to look like I contender for next year in the ECF. And we come in, whatever sweep we go 4-1 or 4-2, and then win 2 rounds. We'll stay intact. Would you stay intact as is? Everything, nothing changes?
Well, no, I'm still making a change. It's just a slight change.
Oh, okay.
Like, regardless of what the Knicks do, if the Knicks go, let's say the Knicks, and I'm being very generous here with this. Let's say the Knicks win the first round and they go to like a 7-game series or a 6-game series in the 2nd round and play really well, and we're out of there. I like what I got in front of me. It's not enough, though. I'm saying to myself, well, out of everything that happened with this team all year, all these win streaks, but look at all these losing streaks. We either one or the other. We play really good or we play really bad. And then what's the common denominator that happens when we play really bad? Oh, it's our defense. Oh, it's a lack of scoring. Certain points, we're not getting the efficiency. I'm going out and I'm getting another scorer who can be efficient in the shooting, like who has a high percentage of efficiency for whatever their career is, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it's been. They're good at putting the ball in the basket. As I need basket getters. That's one I'm getting. 2, I know I need defense, especially at that small forward position. So I'm going to get myself a 6'7", 6'8" wing who can play defense. He doesn't have to be Jaylen Brown, even though I want Jaylen Brown. But the guy got to be able. Defense, I don't got to worry about this guy. I was like, I know that guy plays defense. That's number one. Now, the offensive side, we hope that he can shoot as well, but number one is getting that defense solidified, because if you're going to decide to keep Josh Hart, keep, Quickley, if you can, hopefully, and then whatever else we got, if Mitch is still here and there's no problems, then we got a pretty good defensive squad. Adding that extra piece in the 6'7", 6'8" wing, and then adding someone else who can knock it down from outside, who can give us some consistent shooting, and it could be someone that's like a Luke Kennard, maybe. It doesn't have to be Luke Kennard. I'm just saying somebody who you just know
Right.
can hit shots. We need shots. He can hit shots. And he's not horrible on the defensive side. Yeah, that's all. Those are the little tinkers that I would make to answer your question, Wiz.
Okay, so but remember, Jaquan Jeffries, right? He's on the roster. He's on the contract just for the fill the spot, right? The mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
Rose is going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Are you adding the player or players? Are they starters or are they reserves? And are they in the rotation, which they kind of have to be? Which means who's going to get moved? Because assuming we get that strong second round level again, we do successful playoff in our definition of success. I mean, are we moving a player out of the starting lineup if we get that 3-and-D 6'7", 6'8" plus small forward, or are we simply having them available on the bench to come in as a rotation piece? And that means someone got to go on the rotation then if we're going to go 9-man, because Rose and Jeffries are both out of rotation. So the player we're getting, if he fulfills both roles of the 3-and-D, I mean, clutch, knockdown, three-point shooter, lockdown defender, 6'8" athletic, is he a starter? Is he a bench player? And therefore, he has to go to 9-man rotation. Someone got to go out. So where's that person fit in?
Well, look, I think the Knicks have to get a little creative with what they got going on because they got a lot of players on this team.
Tibbs?
Players that.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, no, yeah, say Tibbs. Yeah, they got to get a little creative with what they got going on. No, I got to say the front office because the front office has to talk to Tibbs. Because at this point, Tibbs ain't ready to do it. Like the front office has to say, look, Tibbs, I understand. We saw what worked for you. Okay, we get it. But look, this is what we're trying to bring in. But we need to be creative of how we're going to get these guys minutes. And do you see a way that you can play these guys? That's the question that has to happen. And he has to answer that. To your point, the Knicks have a little bit of an issue because certain players play in certain positions, and we can't really say that we want to get rid of them, right? We've got one position where there's a player that we can move on from, but his impact replacing him at the position won't be as important as if we were able to get a small forward who plays defense and can shoot, knock down a three or so. And that person is, and I'm sorry to say it, guys, I've already said it earlier. There's only one guy who's got to go from this team if we want to open up minutes. And
hold on, people.
Obi Toppin has to go. Who did you think I was gonna say, Wiz?
I was gonna say RJ. Oh.
No, I'm not ready to say. I know you was thinking that. I'm not ready to say RJ yet. Because you could still win with RJ.
Yeah.
I know people are like, what? You could still win with RJ if you bring in a 3-and-D small forward type player, 6'7", 6'8", wing defender, and you bring in another guy who can knock down consistent shots. If you take Obi out of here, right, and then you say, well, damn, if we take Obi out of here, don't we need another power forward to replace him that's going to give us what he's been giving us if we or fill that spot for Randle? How much do you really need from a backup power forward, the way Randle plays minutes and how he's playing?
True.
So you know what I say, instead of worrying about filling the position in that way, give those minutes to Jericho Sims, who is not really a traditional center to begin with. And his height, he's 6'9". Why not make him the power forward backup? So, and it's still the same thing. If you want to go small lineup but you don't want to play Jericho because you want minutes for other guys, you can still do that. Rather than going out and getting another backup power forward that might deserve minutes, then you have another concern.
Right.
Jericho's not playing at the center spot anyway.
True.
As the backup power forward.
Man, listen to you with some creativity. Oh, man.
I'm just saying, like, I'm figuring out a way to make this happen. How else are we going to do it?
Dolan, you hear this? Give us better contract, man.
I'm just thinking out the box. I'm just thinking out the box. Like, what can we really do? We don't
like
have a
that.
lot of money. We don't have a lot of draft picks. So, and then even if we did, those guys, they ain't coming in and playing. Unless we get a high pick, who's coming in and playing? Really? You know what I mean?
True.
Shout out to Jimmy Henry. Thank you for the $2 super sticker, man. I appreciate that. We don't get a lot of super stickers here, so I appreciate that, bro. Thank you. And also shout out to Edward Walker. I think I've been going back and forth reading your stuff that you put, but I don't know if I acknowledged you. If I didn't, I apologize, brother. Shout out to you, Edward Walker. Thank you for being here, man. He said, I don't care if Randle had 100 points. This means too much ISO. This means Knicks in trouble. Yeah, it could be an issue. I understand. Yep. Angel Torres, salute. He said, Ron Amigo, what's going on, Angel? Good to see you, brother. The Coolest said LeBron, Steph Curry, Trae Young, Pat Bev, and many others have voiced their opinion on the refs. None of them took their frustration out on their teammates or staff. Ooh. I see what you're saying. Oh, and by the way, shout out to Fred Van Vliet. Look at this guy. And that's called putting your money where your mouth is, or putting your mouth where your money is. I don't know. Either way, he got fined a big amount of money, because I heard what the fine was. That's a lot of bread for talking about the refs. And you know what? It worked. They suspended the ref.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fred Van Vliet. That's what I'm talking about.
Give him back his money.
Walter White, shout out to you. Thank you for the generous super chat. Appreciate you, my brother. He said, Tibbs coaches for the playoffs. Most of our games have had playoff intensity. I think we'll be fine. Tibbs has to get the spacing together, and we need some barking like Tibbs on the court. Maybe we do, Walter. Look, and I'll be honest, man. I don't know what to expect from Tibbs. I just know that the narrative following Tibbs everywhere he's gone is that he's a great regular season coach, because maybe it's because he's trying to prepare guys for playoffs and he gets them playing intensity. So the intensity is a little bit more than what you may, not all the time, more than what you may get from other teams throughout the regular season. The regular season, it is what it is. And he has his teams like really playing hard during that time. But when it gets to the playoffs and it's all equal playing field, now the other team is playing just as hard as you in the playoffs, and they know that this is win or go home. This is when he gets a little worrisome with his decision making. And this is when maybe going to an 8-9 man rotation and the team struggling, and then you're not saying, oh, well, I need to look down to my bench. I need a spark or something just to get us back where we got to go. That's all I'm talking about. I'm not saying change, reinvent the wheel. I'm saying when things aren't going right, look down the bench. Deuce, can you give me 5 minutes? Oh, man, my bigs are in foul trouble. Jericho, I need 5 minutes. This is all I'm trying to say. Just go down the line and bring in a guy who might be able to help your team at that given moment, just so you can get back where you need to go. Fournier, you're still on this team, right? Damn, we down 11, 12 points. Julius doesn't have it going. Brunson doesn't have it going. RJ's trying, but he's only scoring from the inside. We need a couple threes, man. Just 2 or 3 threes to get us back into the game. Fournier, can you do that? You know what I mean? This is what I'm talking about. Just it's situational, right? Just get him out there. If Fournier gets hot, maybe he comes in, knocks down a 3, and misses his next 2 shots. Whatever. But maybe there's another opportunity within 5-6 minutes that he gets another shot and he hits the 3. But along the lines, you're still playing solid defense. Then that means he actually affected the game and gave you 6 points or maybe 9 points, depending on if he's hot. You just got to try. And if it don't work, is it 5 or 6 minutes that you're going to say, oh, we lost the game in those 5 or 6 minutes that Fournier was on the court? No, because you're playing a 48-minute basketball game. You got 40-plus minutes to get the game the way it needs to be. Those 5 or 6 minutes you give Fournier is not going to destroy your effort. That's all I'm trying to say, guys. That's all I'm getting at.
In fact, it may win the game, because that's what we need, a change of pace. I mean, all those little twists you're throwing in there can cause us to, make at least a small disruption. I mean, it's a little chaos, obviously, to create a little chaos that can disrupt the other team's rhythm. And that's all you want. We don't need him to like be a huge game changer, just enough to disrupt and throw the rhythm off a little bit. And that can work. I agree with you, man. I've been hoping, but man, I just can't see Tibbs doing that. But Tibbs actually, during the streaks, though, he did do some unorthodox moves. And that's what I'm saying. I wonder if Rick Brunson is in his ear a little bit. Somehow he made a few unorthodox moves, things he's not done his entire career. And that's where I'm thinking, if he's listening to his assistants and they're throwing in those other ideas to him and he's listening to them and he's doing it, I think there's hope. And that's why I'm still optimistic about the playoffs, because I think there's somewhere in him that knows what he's doing is not working, especially this past 10 games, where he's like, wow, we have had 2-3 game losing streaks. Obviously, my theory or hypothesis was after a big victory, we have a huge letdown. Somehow mentally drained, physically a little bit drained, but something happens and then we're going to 3-game losing streak after beating a huge after the Boston game, after the Denver game. Boom, 3-game losing streak so far, 2 in a row. Hopefully we have recovered the past 3 days. Right now, hoping Randle is meditating, talking to whoever he needs to talk to get his head right and prepared to turn around and look at the film and realize now is the change I got to be. I got to be the change I want to see. I got to make that happen right now. And I'm thinking the potential is still there for us to make the nice little run and start up another, kind of like, rhythm to get us ready for the playoffs and sweep Cleveland and Philly, whoever we face. I just think that the sign for me, even the Houston game won't be a true sign. I think the Miami game next Wednesday is a true sign of have we flipped the switch and made a turn. And has Randle, who I think we need to be the one. I think Randle's our emotional leader. I think Brunson is our true leader. I think Randle's emotions, up or down, affects the entire team, and we're still looking at him. Maybe it's going to change after this last game. Maybe people are going to be like, you know what, we're depending on Randle too much on how we're playing the game. Maybe it's time to let go of that, and all of us, stand up for ourselves to become independent of Randle's reactions. We're going to respond professionally, evil keel emotionally, and just knock out, do our jobs. So this could be a turning point for Randle and the whole team to make a change. And I feel I'm optimistic. I'm just one of those guys who just hope that for the best for all of them around, and we're going to do it. So that's why I'm looking forward to next year, finding just a small little twist we need rather than a potential overall change, like trading Randle, but again, or even RJ. But like you said, Obi, let him go. Get that 3-and-D, 6'7" or 8+, knockdown, athletic, locked on artists. And right there is the next step to the ECF. And who knows?
Well, yeah, it's a chance, man. You don't know what's going to work, Wiz, but you got to try. You got to play around and see what makes sense. But I will tell you one thing: defense wins basketball games, and you go from there. The Knicks have already shown that they're one of the better offensive teams in the whole NBA. Even if they're not a good three-point shooting team, they're still one of the better offensive teams. I would say keep going with your bread and butter and keep focusing on building around the defense and go from there. Shout out to Craig. What's good? Good to see you as always, my guy. RG, the OG, salute to you, my brother. Appreciate you. He says, yeah, Sims will spread. This is when I was talking about making Sims the power forward. He said,
Right.
yes, Sims will spread the floor and knock down threes. LOL. No, he won't. But sometimes you don't need that. There's teams that play with a power forward that can't shoot in this league. There's teams that play small ball and the power forward is not efficient shooting from three. Golden State Warriors play interesting with their lineups, and the power forward is Draymond Green. Ooh, how good is he from three? Listen, so I know he's incredible defensively, not as good as he used to be. He's still very good though. I'm just saying, like, I get it, but the point is you have to do what you have to do creatively, because remember, the Knicks have a lot of money tied up. If the Knicks had money, then I would say just go out and get yourself another power forward to back up, Randle, and you don't worry about it. But they don't have a lot of money. So why would you want to tie up that money in a backup power forward who's not going to get a lot of minutes and add a lot of value to your team when you know we got Randle there? If anything, you put that money in someone else, a small forward, 3-and-D type guy or something like that, or using that money to get somebody who you can use to help score a little bit on the perimeter, because that's what you're lacking. Efficient wise, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to be creative. No team is going to be perfect, and then when you're handicapped because of your money, you have to think outside of the box, or else what are you going to do? Would you be happy if we just went into next year with the same team, made no changes? The Knicks will play better. They might have a similar record to this year, or maybe a little better, because now everybody will, like Josh Hart, will be there from day one. But are we getting better outside of that? The same issues we got now, they'll still be there next year. No, that's my point. The other thing I was going to say, when you was talking about Randle, and you made me think of something before we get into like this next game and get up out of here. I honestly think that instead of Tibbs saying guys need to come to Randle's defense, no, I think you need to, the kids' gloves are off. I think you need to let it go. If anything, if I'm a Knick player, let Randle go do what you're going to do. I'm going to step right away from you. We already had enough talks about this. We've already said what we said. We know who you are. And this is where I kind of see RJ. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm with you, RJ. Let Randle do him. Yeah, do you, brother. If you want to get mad and get in the ref's face and they want to tee you up, let them tee you up. And if you want to do it again and they tee you up and they throw you out the game, you get thrown out the game. So now if I'm Obi, I'm like, okay, Randle, do your thing. All right, locker room. Okay, that means 20 minutes for me, 25 minutes. I'm out there. That's like, look, Randle, do your thing. If you're going to hurt the team, look, do your thing. We'll figure out a way to try to win this game despite you doing that. And if you get kicked out, then that means one less thing we got to worry about. Everybody gets to play. We move the ball around and we do what we got to do. That's how I think these Knicks players at this point, let it go. Let him do what he's going to do. If he gets kicked out, if he gets a technical, let him try to get it back for us. But if he gets kicked out, it is what it is. And we just don't have to worry about him for the rest of this game. We'll think about it the next game. I don't know.
I like that idea.
Geraldine.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you do? Geraldine said, Ron, you're talking to a dead horse. Tibbs is not going to change his lineup. Yeah, I know. I know. Lauren Allen says, you're so right. I hate that Tibbs talks about importance of all 12 guys, but never uses them in situations. I know that's like my biggest knock on Tibbs. It's his situational rotations and some of his adjustments that he makes in game. That's it. I don't complain about nothing else with Tibbs. Those are my same things I always say. The same things over and over.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So let's see here. Let's put this puppy up there. This is our next game, guys. And that is, what? Why is it going off? It left my other screen. Okay. Anyway, this is our next game, which is Sunday, I believe. No, Monday. I'm sorry. Monday. At 7:30. Yep. Monday at 7:30, guys. New York Knicks versus the Houston Rockets. And, I like to look at the tail of the tape. None of this matters too much because we never know if guys have been playing really good basketball in the last 10 games. This doesn't matter too much. But overall for this season, Houston's averaging 110 points per game. The Knicks are averaging 115. Houston rebounds averaging 46 rebounds per game. That's a high number for Houston. And the Knicks are at 46.7. So that's a wash. Assist, Houston's at 22.4. The Knicks are at 22.5. That's a wash. Steals, Houston's at 7.2. The Knicks are at 6.2. Advantage Houston. Blocks 4.6 for Houston and Knicks at 4. That's a wash. Turnovers 15.7. That can hurt you. To the Knicks 12.1. Advantage Knicks. 45.6 from the field for Houston. 46.6 for the Knicks. To me, that's close enough to be a wash. 3-point percentage, 32.7 for Houston, 34.9 for the Knicks. Now the Knicks have the advantage here. The only thing I would worry about is this is one of those games Monday. If Houston shoots lights out from 3, I may lose everything. I'm going to lose it. I'm telling you, because it makes no sense that a team that shoots 32% from 3 comes in and is shooting high like 40% or something like that. Crazy. This should not happen. And then free throw
the amount
line.
of fair when you said that number is that we're going to look at the advantage and think, oh, we can hit threes. And then we're going to take too many threes.
I honestly, I think we're going to be taking the threes no matter what. Tibbs is giving these guys the green light. I don't know what it is. Now he's just like everybody, just let it fly. I don't know what's going on. Free throw percentage, 75.4 for Houston, 76.9 for the Knicks. Then points in the paint, 54.7 for Houston, 51.5 for the Knicks. Whoa. Second chance, 16.8 for Houston, 16.4. That's a wash. And the rebounding is, it's right there. But I think Houston got that advantage nicely. And then fast break points, 12.9 for Houston, 12.3 for the Knicks. That's a wash. The Knicks could easily lose this game. I'm just telling you right now, the way they're playing right now, they could lose this game.
Wow.
They got to get it together, Wiz. This is some scary stuff.
It is very scary. I know.
I don't know, man.
Wow. I'm a little worried about it. I didn't know it was so closely matched on the numbers.
That's why I like looking at this stuff, because I know it doesn't tell the whole story, but you'd be surprised that throughout the season, man, these interesting. Edward Walker said Trap City. That's a fact, because this is not good. Like, we can go into this one and definitely come out with an L. Let me tell you something. If the Knicks lose 4 in a row, 2 of those games being Orlando and Houston, I might be a little more
you may go over
cautious.
The edge.
I might be a little bit more cautious about what I think about this team going forward. I think, because if they can't, like, at some point you got to stop the bleeding and you got to say, look, we've already shown that when it comes to stuff, we can buckle down and get it done. Houston there's 2 must wins. These next 2 games are must wins. Houston is a must win because
if Houston wins, you're telling me that you may not know the ledge?
I definitely won't know the ledge. I'm telling you right now that if Houston wins this game,
see if I know the ledge.
Next week, like, Juan's gonna be, where is the ledge? I don't know it.
I'm out the window. I am out the window, brother. So the Houston game is a must win because you got to break this losing streak. And you definitely don't know what's going to happen with Miami. So you want to win against Houston before going into Miami, because if you don't beat Miami, you don't want to go on a 5-game losing streak. And plus, that game against Miami could really be bad. If we go in losing to Houston and then play Miami and then lose to them, oh boy, you talk about going downhill. And so I think the Houston game is a must win. And then I honestly think the Miami game is a must win as well. I know Miami's not easy. You don't know. It's not always easy to beat them, but they got to beat them. Those are must win games to me.
I mean, if we lose the Houston game, Miami game could be 6th place or 7th place we're playing for. It very well could be. So we could be on the edge of the play-in if we lose Houston and get to the Miami game. Could be a playoff or play-in game based on what the Nets and the Heat do for this weekend. So that's very dangerous. Houston also is the number 2 worst team in the entire NBA right now, right? So they got Scooter right now, potentially, right? They got potentially Scooter. They are, I don't know why, they obviously, as a player, you're not going to try to tank. But, man, as an organization, you're like, we don't need this victory. We don't need this victory at all. Let's get Scooter. Let's get Wembanyama, somebody. We could be 102. I mean, Scooter is John Morant-like, right? So we're talking about they have every reason not to win this game. Other than pride. Other than pride, they have reason to lose this game. And we have some reason to win this game. So if we're not on fire on Monday, and they're just playing a normal, pickup game for, just for, for experience as a young team, meaning that we should beat these guys, then that's where, yeah, I'm not gonna know the ledge either on Monday. So next Saturday, I don't know if you want to have the show because I'm gonna need the show if you know the ledge, but I don't know if I'm gonna know the ledge if we lose to Houston Monday, especially if we lose badly and give up, like I said, 40% from three. Oh man, wow. You're scaring me. You're scaring me, Ron. Thanks a lot.
I'm sorry, brother.
I'm
sorry,
I'm very
brother.
scared.
Well, listen, man, it is what it is. What can we do? And look at this. This is a sign. 3 hours and 28 minutes, and I finally saw my first fluctuation in internet on the show. And so that's not great, but at least we got through 3 hours with it not fluctuating like that. So that's good.
Nice.
But I will say maybe that's a sign. Maybe they're trying to tell me, okay, now it's time to wrap up.
Yep.
But I hear you, man. And listen, Jalen Green is look, this Madison Square Garden, you know how players love to light it up in the Garden.
Man.
I would definitely expect Jalen Green to try to come in and put on a show because it's kind of like a metric system, right? Like, oh man, all the greatest players that go into the Garden, they have great games. I got to do that too. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in trying to get busy. What Vaughn Allen said, Houston, no paint protection. That's important, but does it really matter if we shooting 30+ threes in the game? Like if we live out there on the perimeter, that paint protection ain't gonna matter. So that's why we got to take advantage of what is going on with that team. And to what Wiz said, if Houston is just playing a normal game and we're not hot on Monday, we better clamp down on defense and just try to score smart baskets. Just get the game over, get the victory. I don't care if we win by 2 points, they need to get the victory. Yeah, they move the ball. That is true, Francisco. Yeah, you're right. Their centers like to pass. Yeah, they just need to try to figure out a way to just get the victory. Someone else said something that I want. I don't know. I lost it. I had it somewhere. I don't know where it is now. But either way, William from Brazil is in the building. Salute, my guy. Appreciate you, brother. Always good to see you.
Sir.
Yeah. I think I lost it. What was I? What was it? Man, now it's gonna gnaw at me all. After the show, I'm gonna hang it up, and I'm like, oh, now I remember what it was. But it's okay. But yeah, that's the whole thing, guys. That's it in a nutshell. Knicks gonna have to win these next 2 games. I think these are huge, important must-wins. Houston is a must-win, and then Miami is damn near must-win too. Because I just don't think you want to go. Miami ain't stopping. They're gonna try to do their best to make a nice little push. So I just think you gotta try to win this game. So we'll see what happens.
So I'm calling it, by the way. I'm calling Houston's game. We're gonna blow them out, and I'm gonna hold them on 100. We're gonna dominate. Randle right now is doing woosah, his meditation. He's ready. He's apologized to his teammates. Everyone's now, they've had dinner together or lunch or something secretly. They didn't want to get after the press. Tibbs is like, yo, Brick, Johnny, give him some ideas, man. Help me in the game, man. Tap me, pull my leg, my pant leg, something. Let me know what I got to do. Keep me focused in the game. Keep me flexible. We listen to Ron's show on Saturday, and Ron gives some ideas. Let's use some of those ideas. We know the ledge. We have the knowledge, and we know the ledge. So let's do it. So Monday, they're going to apply all of that, and we're going to come out with a 124, 98 victory on Monday, and then ready for Miami on Wednesday and be like, we're coming back for you. We're coming back to show you who we are. We're not going to the plane. We're going to be in playoffs. My prediction, next Saturday, you guys can all either laugh at me or call me Nostradamus, the wisdom one, the wise one. Okay. That's my take.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you right now.
I dream a lot. Okay.
Look, there's nothing wrong with that, man. It's good. It's good to have dreamers. But if the Knicks lose on Monday night,
see if I know the ledge.
I'm jumping straight out. It's going to be over for me. But listen, guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Today was a long one, but I felt like I needed to talk. And then, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't able to do the NBA report on Thursday. So there was some stuff that needed to be said. And as I said before, and I want to clear something up too. Keep in mind what I'm saying about Julius Randle is that he's complaining when he should probably not complain so much to the refs, especially when they're not listening. This year has been really funky, and if they're not doing what they need to do, just try to control yourself and keep it under wraps as best as you can, or at least keep your arguing to a minimum so you don't get technical fouls. Because as long as Julius doesn't get a technical, who cares? Talk to the ref as much as you want. As long as it doesn't affect what's going on in the game and giving the other team free points, I don't care really. But it also has to, don't get yourself out of your own game, because that's the thing. You could be complaining too much, and then I'm not getting the calls, and then it takes something away from you as to what you're doing out there on the court. So that would be an issue. So yeah, and then and that's the difference between him and Luka. Luka is a whiner. He is a crybaby. He complains about everything. That's a whole different story. Julius, when he gets fouled, he's getting fouled. So that's a different thing. They're just not calling it. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm hoping for the best, man. We need our Knicks to turn this thing around right now. There's no more time to wait. We know we go up and down with these streaks. Let's get out of here with this. Let's cut it now and get back to our winning ways. We need it. I don't know what else I can say about it. I'm hoping for the best, man. I'm hoping for the best. Wiz, hey, I appreciate you, man. Any final words you got, or I think you might be breaking up anyway a little bit. So it's okay. It's all right, brother. I got you. I'm going to say I wish for the best. I'm hoping that they do what they need to do to win the game. And guys, look, I know we get upset. We get mad at what we see out there. Some of it's uncalled for. Sometimes it's no excuse why, but these are our Knicks, man. These are our Knicks. Let's just hope for the best. I hope they get it together. Hope they do what they need to do in order to bring home these victories. We need them to play good basketball down the stretch going into the playoffs. We can't have these continued losing ways. It's not going to be good for the team, and it's definitely not be good for Julius. We need Julius. Julius also wants to show that the whole thing that happened against Atlanta, it was just a bad situation. Bad situation. And we didn't make the proper adjustments, which has to do with Tibbs too. Don't forget, in that series, they put the emphasis on Julius and made it look like he didn't show up. But Tibbs didn't make, a lot of adjustments during that time with what Atlanta was trying to do against us either. So yeah, man, we gotta play better as a unit, as a team, and let's get guys back to making smart decisions. Josh Hart has looked great out there for the most part defensively. The bulldog mentality. He's made some really good shots. He's been playing sound, but lately he's been forcing the issue and trying to do a little bit too much. We need him to calm down. We need the rest of the guys to step up. Grimes, continue to do what you're doing. RJ, take it easy. Maybe kind of balance yourself again with the shot attempts where you were doing the past, few games prior to the, this last couple. And then go from there, man. We'll see. Yeah, it is what it is. I hear you, Wiz. I appreciate you, my brother. Always good to have you. Fantastic chopping it up with you. Thank you to Corey Lee for being here and chopping it up with me too. Appreciate you. To the rest of you guys in the chat, thank you for always, keeping the show on the straight and narrow. Guys like Sherwin, Nick Yak, and the stat correctors and everything. I appreciate y'all as well, man. Thank you guys for just making sure we got the facts and the best possible information. Shout out to Ken as well. Appreciate you guys, and just thanks everybody, man. Let's hope for a great rest of your Saturday and fantastic Sunday, and the Knicks need to take care of business on Monday, and we go from there. That's all we can really do. So I'm signing off. That's all I got, guys. Enjoy yourselves. Make the best of it. We don't have much time in life, but what time we do have, we need to make the best of it. And as I like to say, if you can't be good at it. Oh, I almost forgot. Tell a friend who tells a friend who tells another friend. Still Knicks fans. We'll be back again, whether it be on Saturdays at 11 a.m. for Know the Ledge with your man Ron, yours truly, on the ones and twos myself, because no one else is here doing it. Mondays for SKF Weekly at 9 p.m. with me, John, and Jose on the ones and twos. And if that's not enough, then you can catch us again on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. for what I was about to say, the NBK channel for the NBA report. Why was I going to say Know the Ledge again? I'm bugging out, man. It's been a long 3 hours and 38 minutes. I'm tired. Yeah, so 8 p.m. on Thursday nights for the NBA report on Nothing But Knicks Network. And stay tuned. Listen, I'm still working on it. I'm trying to get us a important guest, to talk about certain things coming forward for the playoffs. We'll see if that happens, but we try. That's all we can do. All right, guys, take it easy. I'll catch you on the next one.